feeding him the puck, going and getting him the puck. And it just seemed like, oh, this is one of those Auston Matthews nights. And it cooled a little bit because it trickled down to the next line. And William Nylander and Tyler Bertuzzi suddenly take over. And John Tavares makes a big play on the first Nylander goal. And then it trickles all the way down to the third period with Simone Benoit, Benny the Butcher, as you mentioned, scrapping again and getting involved. It just seemed like it started with the lead dog, and then everyone started doing their job over the course of the period and game, and it all added up to a complete performance, maybe the most complete performance of the year for the Maple Leafs. But maybe that's the key. It's just the start from the stars who set the tone for everything and put all the pieces in place for a game like that.
I mean, the start of a game, the start of a period, the end of a period, and the end of a game are really, for me, the most important like indicators if you're ready, if you're focused, if your attention to detail is there. The Leafs at times have been known for slow starts, for getting behind in the play. I haven't seen that as much lately, but last night was a perfect example of saying, no, we're setting the pace, we're setting the tone. This is our game. And I didn't even think, like, I was surprised by it too, because it's the first game of a West Coast trip. It's in LA. Like, you kind of thought, hey, it's a Tuesday night, 10:30 p.m. start on the East Coast. What do you expect from this Maple Leafs team? So I was surprised to see the level of intensity and control they had early on. But it's like, continue to do that. They also fall down sometimes in the last minute of periods. Like, that frustrates me so much when you're almost like, all right, we're almost off. Like, let's, we're getting ready to go into the dressing room. You lose that tiny attention to detail. So beginnings of periods and ends for me are like the total indicator of if a team was locked in. The Maple Leafs were all night yesterday. So like, that's because you're also playing against a good team. So you have to elevate and always play at that level. But tonight, I mean, the Ducks are not great, but that you should just steamroll teams. Like, you should steamroll a team like this. Yeah,
with a performance of last night, you will. You will tonight. And last night, there was, I guess, two goaltenders. Martin Jones locked in a shutout. We'll give credit to Dennis Hildeby doing his job on the bench. 6 defensemen.
Did you see Dennis Hildeby made a save?
I didn't.
They showed, it was cute on the broadcast, they showed a puck getting flipped out of bounds.
Oh, showing off the reflexes?
Into the bench.
See, he's ready.
And he caught the puck while he was sitting down. I said, there you go, first NHL save.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so two goaltenders.
He's already touched the puck.
Did their jobs. I'll say the defense corps, all 6 did their jobs. I will say at least 11 forwards did their jobs. But Nick Robertson didn't have a particularly good game, and he'll be punished for it. Nick Robertson, one lineup change at least. He will be out of the lineup in place Pontus Holberg. Pontus Holberg's now just the guy who steps in when people are being punished.
He's around, yeah.
David Camp was scratched, and now we're seeing Nick Robertson.
I wonder if the teammates are like, oh, come on. Like,
well, that's annoying.
How do you feel about it?
That's annoying if you're Holmberg, right? Like, you're just the guy that kind of steps in when
like, thanks for sucking.
There's some slaps on the wrist. I will ask, though. Lineup changes after a win. It's something Sheldon Keefe likes to do. You're a former player. You dealt with situations like this. You like seeing a lineup change after a win? Is that necessary?
No, I never really played for a coach that went like cooked like that, unless you had, a bunch of selfish penalties, or you were like a real cause for concern as an individual. I've played for coaches in like leadership groups where I was like, run it back, like things are clicking, like why fix what's not broke, right? And I mean, Robertson is still year after year. Now, how many years has this been? 2 or 3 of trying to figure out what Robertson's role is with this Maple Leafs team. And you get excited, and then, he's obviously dealt with some injuries and unfortunate situations where he hasn't had a runway. But this was his runway, right? He hasn't made his impact. He hasn't found his footing. Can he only be a top 6 forward? Well, that spot isn't available for the Maple Leafs. So I'm not surprised that it's Robertson. I do think sometimes after a win, it is strange to be switching things up. But obviously Sheldon Keefe, like, he did this with Kampf the other day. Kampf came out and played really well. So, he's obviously pushing the buttons that he thinks is right. But I do think lineup changes after a win is an interesting thing. Is it more just like Robertson needs to do more? Like, I'm circling you and you are getting like punished for this? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone should really be above dealing with punishment or having something taken away from them. I mean, Nick Robertson, he is not carved out anything permanent on this roster for sure. But the problem with the Nick Robertson thing is like, okay, there's a lull and you're punished for it. But like, what is, if they're like, that's the valley, what are the peaks like? And the peaks haven't been great for Nick Robertson. Let's be honest. If we're talking about
a little bit like a Saskatchewan road.
Yeah, and it's pretty low. I don't know. Is it elevated? No, it would be low in Saskatchewan, right?
Yeah.
That's my geography lesson of the day. Flat.
Actually, Saskatchewan's known for its beautiful mountainous.
Not
landscape.
mountainous, but like, is it raised? You know what I mean? Like, New Orleans is low.
Anyway,
the Great Plains,
after dark
high or
later.
low. Okay, so he's not giving you anything that screams, wow, we got to have him on a playoff roster. So if we're talking about what a team might look like in 4 months or whenever that is, we'll always talk about the defense core. It's clear where you can upgrade this team. It's on the third line. It could be a winger. It could be a center and you push Domi to the left side. But it's clear that's where it can happen. The fourth line looks good. The second line is electric. The first line is the first line. I guess you could upgrade on Matthew Nyes if you really wanted to. But does that create a problem lower because he's a top 6 guy in the same way that Nick Robertson is a top 6 guy? So there's an existing issue here. There's something that I don't think can be addressed with a scratch. But I'm starting to become a little bit more convinced that the biggest issue might be on that third line. Because Simone Benoit stepped up and Timothy Liljegren's back. And guys are playing pretty well in the back end.
And even if Lagesson needs to get in, you feel all right with Lagesson? Like, we've kind of moved our attention from the decor now to what needs to be fixed.
And I will say what I really like, I think the third pairing on this defense core in the playoffs should be McCabe and Benoit. And I think you're trying to find someone to play with Liljegren on the perfect sort of set of circumstances. But if I'm shopping, my list is probably still that middle pairing defenseman to play with Liljegren. We can put the pieces in whatever order. But inching closer is just impact defensively, responsibility, someone you can trust on that third line.
You're taking Gio out of the playoffs?
I think so.
Wow.
Aren't you?
All-time leader in shot blocks, the heart and soul of that back end.
It's a perfect seventh defenseman
65
right now,
years young.
You think that defense score is good enough right now?
No, but Gio is a workhorse.
Gio or Benoit? You make the call.
As of last night, I'm on Team Benny the Butcher, but it would be hard to watch Gio in the stands. He's sacrificing his body out there.
If you're talking about a long playoff run, you're using more than 6.
Yeah,
Gio can be load managed and used appropriately.
Gio can shuffle up to the old Spezza roll. You know? They graduate you up to the press box. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're assistant to the regional manager.
You're already retiring the man?
When it's time. All right, we do have the lines, though. We will give them to you after the break. Maple Leafs in Anaheim on a back-to-back. Hilda on the bench, though. We got lots to come. All after the break. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Every year, fans debate over the draft. Who's going first? At Chuck's, they already know. The top draft choice is that icy cold 18-ounce Molson Canadian you're holding, and it's just $4 at Chuck's during Leafs games. No wonder that at draft time, Canadians are always in high demand. Chuck's Roadhouse Bar and Grill. Food the way it ought to be. Price the way it used to be.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Heathwood's all-brick single-family homes come with a long list of features you've always dreamed of. Gourmet kitchens, freestanding tubs, and even fully finished lower levels. Dare to...
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
My late night shows showcasing some of the most absurd and hilarious moments from my decades on television.
Come on, everyone, settle down. This is a serious TV show.
Plus, dive deep into 28 years of late night memories and behind the scenes with Inside Conan. Conan O'Brien Radio, only on Sirius XM Channel 104. Or listen with the Sirius XM app.
Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review
With Mick Kerr.
11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morisuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Hockey lives here.
Suzuki sweeps it, there's a chance, Reno Caulfield shoots and scores!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Join me, Scott Laughlin, and Gord Stellick, along with former NHLer Mike Johnson for NHL Morning Skate, weekday morning, 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
This is Molson Leafs Hockey. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
There's a Molson with your name on it.
Glad he chunks ago tonight. He feels good coming off the last night. And obviously, on a back-to-back, usually you don't go back with the same guy. So it's worth a conversation, especially the unique circumstances. Just given that there was no travel last night and somewhat of a light load in the game yesterday. From Hildeby's case, we want to get him some experience and get him in the net at some point here. As we're going to likely need him. But at the same time, as I say, the overriding thing for me is we want to build some positive momentum as a team.
You're back on Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert here for your pregame, intermissions, and postgame. Leafs are on the road to face the Anaheim Ducks on a back-to-back. One more after this on the West Coast before they head home. And as you heard Sheldon Keefe saying that it will be Martin Jones getting a back-to-back, something we were all waiting for the last 18 hours. How many hours since they played? Not a lot. It was just moments ago they were getting off the ice.
I guess not 18 hours, maybe like 20 hours. But yeah, we've been waiting bated breath for this decision all day. And I guess there is a little bit more urgency than I think we built up in our minds and in our heads, at least collectively, because the 2 points, when you look at what the Leafs have done the last few weeks and month, like it hasn't been a string of victories. It hasn't been win, 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 loss, win, win, win. There's been some real disappointment. There's been some points left on the table, and I think Sheldon Keefe's a little bit tired of that. And to put the onus on Dennis Hildeby to open himself up to a bit of an unknown and a variable certainly going into this game, I think he just wants to stick with the steady hand of Martin Jones, who basically has given the Maple Leafs a chance to win every single time he's gone out there. 2 points are 2 points. I think he sees the path of least resistance toward those 2 points tonight with Martin Jones.
Well, you just can't be punting any games anymore. Like you kind of gave a few up, to say it lightly, when Ilya Samsonov was getting more and more opportunities to try to work his way through stuff. At this point, you might be looking back at 2 or 3 games where you gave up 1 or 2 points and think, oh, wow, when it comes playoff time, would have been good to maybe have just focused on winning and not rehabilitating our goalie's confidence. So tonight, maybe Martin Jones is just a steadier, easier, better decision to face a team that is the Anaheim Ducks, who are near the bottom of the NHL as well. Something that the Maple Leafs sometimes struggle with, but we're going to think on the positive side. Let's just finish up with Martin Jones before we move on to William Nylander, because Martin Jones is our player to watch, presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. We're all aboard the Martin Jones train. Choo choo. Shutout, plus 1,100. Can he do it back-to-back? Last night was his 30th, I believe, against his former team. He's riding a high. He could get a shutout tonight. Let's just say it, plus 1,100. Or Justin has a more responsible bet for you.
Yeah, I don't know how responsible it is because it might be a bit of a long shot as well. But plus 200 for Martin Jones to make 30 saves or more on Bet365 tonight. I'm not sure the Maple Leafs on their best night would give up 30 shots to an Anaheim Ducks team. But maybe on the second half of a back-to-back, with maybe the Anaheim Ducks thinking, hey, there's a better chance that we could win tonight. There might be more pucks put on a goaltender who played the previous night, and Martin Jones might have to be a little bit busier than he was against an LA Kings team. So if he can give the Maple Leafs competent goaltending, and if the Anaheim Ducks are a little bit more ambitious than they have been throughout the balance of the season so far, maybe a plus 200 play on 30 saves or more for Martin Jones is reasonable tonight.
I just went on a whim and placed a bet while you were speaking on Simon Benoit, a former Anaheim Duck.
To score
a goal.
Don't even tell me the number. I mean, it better be 2,000 or more.
It was 2,000.
Okay, 2,000.
Why not?
Maybe that's
He's been a big storyline the last couple of days. He's been a player to watch. Who says it doesn't bounce off someone's butt and go in the net from the Ducks, and then it would help?
I suppose that is possible. I suppose that is possible. I'm trying to bring up, he does have 4 career goals in 158 games.
Time to get number 5, baby.
Maybe it's, again, a revenge spot.
Somebody that hasn't had too much struggles getting points has been William Nylander. We haven't had too much time to talk about him, but he's got his 50th last night. He's riding a high. Of course, he has been all season long, and there's discussions about him possibly being days or maybe a week or 2 away from signing an extension with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Of course, we've heard that from Nick Kyprios and Elliot Friedman over the last 2 days. So if William Nylander goes, 8 years, 11.25, how you feeling, Justin?
I mean, that is way, way more than I ever imagined 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 2 years ago, 5 years ago. I don't think I ever would envisioned a time where $11.25 million would be headed toward William Nylander's bank account on an annual basis. But as much as you could quibble with it and worry about it and be like, oh, where does this put the Maple Leafs? Where would the Maple Leafs be without William Nylander this year?
Yeah.
Like, just if you sign a contract that is 8 years with a player of William Nylander's caliber, there might be a day where it looks pretty bad at the end. It might be a little tight at the start, but there might be a nice, happy medium that lasts 3, 4, 5 years. Well, William Nylander is not only appropriately paid, but maybe slightly underpaid. That's the benefit of 8 years. Again, it's going to be hard for him to be underpaid at $11.25 million. But I'm of the belief they should sign the man and ask the questions later. And if you got to do something that you don't want to do in the future because it's just not going to work out, do it then. But don't give up on a player of his caliber because he earned himself a couple extra $1 million with a great start this year.
I think It's going to be interesting when we have discussions about Mitch Marner's contract that's coming up soon. But you know what? We can punt that to another day and another time. But if William Nylander wants to sign to be a Maple Leaf for 8 years, do it. Get that ink on the paper
and then
real quick.
the very captainly thing to do, if you're John Tavares, would be like, hey, how can I, year to year, make this work for my team?
A lot of decisions have to happen after this one, but
yeah.
okay.
But again, you're soaking up the Tavares money. Again, it's not a huge cap relief, but the salary cap's going up. John Tavares' $11 million is coming off, and you will be able to breathe under the weight of the salary cap again one day.
Most likely tonight, we will not get the news of a William Nylander extension. We do have some depleted Ducks lineup. No Radko Gudas. Remember that whole Joseph Wall situation? Won't see him tonight. He's out with an illness. They've got Troy Terry out, Ross Johnson out, and Ryan Strome out, and they're starting Lucas Dostal in net. Could be a trap for the Maple Leafs.
It's a no excuses night, but excuses have been made over the last month or so.
All right, Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph will have the call of the first period after the break. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's Week 18 in the NFL. Playoff spots are on the line, and there's only one place for all the action.
Touchdown! Josh Allen, the beast, has been released!
And that's the Sunday Drive. This is Bill Eckes. Join Steve Torrey and me at noon Eastern for live listen-ins, guests, playoff implications, and coaching news around the NFL.
You know, it's a playoff atmosphere, a really good team.
Spend Week 18 with the Sunday Drive at noon Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio.
Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need
On the home of hockey,
NHL Network Radio.
SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play.
Weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio.
SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado. It was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM NHL Network Radio.
SiriusXM 91.
And on your schedule with the SiriusXM app.
The Point
with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had new Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point
with Boomer Gordon.
1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio.
SiriusXM 91 and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Patrick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
The biggest names in the game.
Trying to get behind Ristolainen, walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to SiriusXM FC 157.
The best hockey lives here.
Burns gets it back, stick handles to the backhand, moves in front, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs Radio Network.
The Leafs have made their way to Anaheim, California. California as they tangle with the Ducks. And the watchdogs of the wet wickets tonight are brought to you by Superior Door and Gate Systems, Canada's top choice for automatic doors and security gates, security fencing, and bollards. Because security can only be measured by what it will save you. For the 22nd time, Martin Jones is going to play back-to-back games. He's 11-7-3 when he's done that with a 2.81 goals against average, coming off a shutout last night in Los Angeles. And it will be Lucas Dostal for the Anaheim Ducks. He is 6-8-0 with a 3.65 goals against average. The Leafs have seen him once where he mopped up, but he has a 10.27 goals against average against Toronto in that mop-up. But here we go. Ducks to the left and the Leafs to the right as it's played up on the left wing boards and down into the Toronto zone. Riley flipping it around the boards to the near side, and it comes out at center ice as Matthews gets it over on the wing and batted into the zone then by Brody, and the Ducks will go back into their own zone. Henrique gets it out. It bounces over Morgan Riley's stick and goes into the zone and into the corner. Flipped back along the boards by Max Jones. Comes to the side of the net. And Martin Jones will put a stop to play by getting a glove on it. And he will hold on.
Well, let's stick with that. Your thoughts on Martin Jones playing back-to-back?
You know, I never really understood. Marty Brodeur played a lot of games. Glenn Hall played back-to-back games every damn weekend and went 504 consecutive games. I understand the position is different. And you're concerned about what happens if he has a groin pull here or something like that maybe. But I don't know. I mean, it's a short trip to Anaheim. It's not everybody else had to play 2 games in a row. But you are a little more cautious, I think, are you not?
Well, and then I'd also like to throw the kid in there.
Yeah, well,
you know, I mean, that's probably it as much as Martin Jones being unable to play.
All right, here's Leeson getting it to the side of the net. Nylander circles the goal and starts out. 50 points on the year for Willie. He's in across the line, dropping for Tavares, who got a shot away, and it was just wide as Dostal may have gotten a piece of that with the blocking glove. You're going to have to play the kid at some point, right? If Wall is not coming back and Samsonov, well, he's in therapy for a week before he even gets back onto the ice. So you would have to think it would, and maybe this is the spot, but that's not what the coach thinks. Is a long shot, and if they're going to shoot like that and have that, I could play back-to-back games for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Play on your back. A wrist shot from the point that Jones was able to track down. John Gibson not in goal for the Anaheim Ducks, and they gave up 7 goals and 39 shots in the Ducks' last game, which was a loss to the Edmonton Oilers, who appear to be back. Well, they've still got some work to do. I mean, they've put themselves in a position that you can't afford a 4 or 5 game slump between now and the end of the regular season.
Well, their record on home ice is abysmal, 6-14-0. As it's cleared down into the Toronto zone. Jones, nifty little stick handling move made by the lead goaltender. Riley taken to the boards on the far side, but the puck comes out with a long lead pass at center. And now the Leafs in over the line. Gregor to the left wing side. McMahon couldn't handle the pass. Takes it to the corner boards. Tied up there by Sam Carrick. Markham native playing in his 200th career NHL game. Back to the point it goes. Benoit, a long shot that went wide of the goal. Kept in there by Gregor, and a shot in towards the net was deflected wide. Chipped along back of the net. Jamie Drysdale, Toronto native, getting it up on the boards. Bo Gruel gets it to the far side, and the Ducks will organize. Pass off a wing to the left wing side. Domi slipping it back in over the line. Pontus Holmberg into the lineup. Here's Domi coming to the front. Went to the backhand, but it rolled off the toe of his stick before he could get a shot away. Nicholas Robertson is a scratch this evening. Pontus Holmberg, and the Leafs are going to get a power play here. Not sure what it's for, but I'm sure the color man here that is working with me will have all of the information when we get the whistle, and here it is.
That was an obvious infraction, Joe, for slashing.
Sure?
Yeah, I just saw the sign. I was going to try to wait it out until I saw it. But it will be a slash. Actually, Kelly Yarncroc, who scored last night against the Los Angeles Kings, had a pretty good scoring opportunity from the high spot.
Drysdale in the box.
It might have been, was it on the hack? Domi taking it to the net?
I think it was.
Maybe the hack?
3 minutes into the game. Leafs were 0 for 4 last night and are still 7th in the National Hockey League, 26 of 105. And Matthews with a shot that went wide of the goal. The glaring situation here, as the Leafs work the power play on the outside, is how many times Anaheim's been shorthanded. Pass to the side of the goal, knocked around back of the net. Nylander to Matthews, coming out in front of the net. Matthews with a shot, backhand off the side, and it's going to be coupled up by Dostal. This is the 162nd time Anaheim's been a man short.
Well, I guess maybe you like the grit. But you're going to pay for it if the penalty kill's not great. They're sort of middle of the pack. 17th in the power play, 16th in the penalty kill. But they've given up 8 goals while shorthanded in the last 8 games.
Played around the boards on the far side. Fired in off a leg. It comes to Matthews on the left wing boards. Matthews swinging it back. Nylander closing and got a shot away. There's a rebound. Backhanded to the net. Jammed that. Didn't get in. And Dostal is able to cover up on it. And how Austin Matthews didn't open the scoring here is beyond me. He was behind the goaltender. Looked like he had an entire open net.
Oh, we could see it went below the goal line, and then it was Ilya Lyubushkin that met Matthews with the stick and puck right on the goal line as Matthews was going to tuck it in.
Minute 14 to go in the power play as it shot down the ice. The situation for the Ducks, they are minus 47 in power play opportunities to time shorthanded. That is a huge deficit. Here's a chance for a shot taken by Tavares and gloved by Lucas Dostal, and he will hold on with 54 seconds left to go in the power play. And the second unit may be coming over the boards.
Leafs already with 6 shots on goal, 4:07 in. As Dostal snags one off the tape of John Tavares, who let it go from the left wing faceoff dot. And you are correct. They got the second unit out now. They don't usually get this much time.
No, full minute almost. At the point, Liljegren off on the right side. A shot goes wide of the net. Nyes is able to corral it. Back to Liljegren again. Liljegren to the right wing side, and a shot that stopped. Big rebound in front. Jammed at. Another shot went wide of the goal, and Domi's after it on the near wing. Tried to one-hand it back, but it's going to come out into the center ice area. Liljegren trying to play it off onto the wing. Has to go off his stick and then out of play into the Anaheim bench. Face-off coming in the center ice area.
The one thing I love about the second power play unit is Tyler Bertuzzi. Just goes straight to the front of the net and stands in front of the goaltender. By the way, Alex Killorn, longtime Tampa Bay Lightning forward, does the same for the Anaheim Ducks now.
15:29 to go in the first. No score. Half a minute to go in the first power play of the game.
Lawrence only got 4 goals on the season. He missed 10 games to injury. But 3 of his 4 goals have come with the extra man for Anaheim.
Faceoff wasn't done correctly. They'll do it all over and have to put another second up on the clock, I would think. Oh, maybe not. Domi kicks the puck back, but it's between the defense and goes all the way back down into the Toronto end. Liljegren waiting for teammates to get into position before dropping it back, and now does. Domi with the pass onto the left wing side. Bertuzzi with a man driving the net, and it's deflected by Yarncroc up into the screen, out of play, but a creative play there, as soon as they got across the blue line, Yarncroc made a beeline for the front of the net, and Bertuzzi got to him, but the pass was just deflected there by Urho Vakanainen, and out of play it went.
12 seconds left now in the Leaf power play. Anaheim actually got off to a pretty decent start. At one stretch, it won 8 out of 10, including 6 in a row.
Here's Giordano into the slot and a shot wired wide of the goal. Leafs have had 7 shots on goal and probably another 4 that missed on the right wing side. Closing in with the shot was Liljegren. It's deflected wide. Against the boards, the penalty over. Another shot taken by Matthews that was knocked down and blocked in front by Dostal. Around opportunity. The Leafs can't get to it. Matthews comes away with the puck. Back to the point. Kept in there by the Leafs on the far side. Now Giordano trying to jam it in around back of the net. And it is Lyubushkin trying to get it up on the wing, and it's going to come out into neutral ice. Marner flips it back in for Matthews. Matthews back to Marner. He heads to the front of the net. Marner sends it there, but it was well high and out of reach of both Matthews and McMahon. Now another shot towards the net. McMahon couldn't redirect it, and Dostal has stopped that and gloved it. And 9 shots on goal now for the Maple Leafs. They have missed, had 3 blocks and 2 misses already.
Simon Benoit back in the lineup for the Leafs. Spent better part of 3 years, the last 3 seasons with the Anaheim Ducks. And signed in the offseason as a free agent with the Leafs. Started out with the Marlies, but sure an interesting homecoming for him to be back. When sure at the start of the year, you start looking at the Leaf defensemen, which included Connor Timmins and John Klingberg. You're wondering, am I ever going to get a shot? Yet, Leafs trip to California has him in the lineup.
Well, and he's becoming a fan favorite after his body work and, pretty good fight the other night. I'm surprised he's in the lineup because when he left to go to the dressing room, that blood was just streaming out of his finger. So I'm sure he's had a stitch put in that index finger on the left hand.
Yeah, but you would think it would
hamper trying to handle the puck and handle the stick. Yep, for sure. Icing call here, and it'll be brought back into the Leaf end. We've played 6 minutes of the first period, and the first period presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus. Ontario only. Play responsibly. Leafs get the puck out into the center ice area. Pushed to the Leaf blue line. Camp couldn't come up with it. Into the slot. Poked off, but the shot then wired wide of the Leaf goal as it comes around on the near wing. A body check thrown there by McCabe. Frees up the puck for David Camp. He's going to swing it back to his defense. And Benoit gets it on to McCabe, who gets it out at center, but it's broken up. Now McCabe faked the shootout and now stretches things out in his own zone. Benoit on the far boards. Banks it off the wall and down into Anaheim territory. The Ducks wearing their dark jerseys. The Leafs mercifully wearing the white jerseys for anybody doing play-by-play tonight. As the puck comes up on the wing and Killorn gets it off on the left wing side and it's deflected down into the Toronto zone. Jones rattling it around the boards for Nylander. Nylander sidesteps one, then got knocked down, has the puck in his skates, was able to play it up while he was down on all fours in the defensive zone. Pretty heads-up play by Willie defensively there as Tavares gets knocked down from behind, and Killorn will take the puck back with Drysdale taking it around back of the net. Drysdale plays it out into the center ice area. Played in on a one-on-one rush now, and a shot, pad save, rebound. Nice save made by Jones. Back into the corner, controlling it is Henrique to get it around the boards on the near side. Trying to creep down the boards, trying to get free as McTavish. And the Leafs are able to come away with the puck and get it elevated and flipped out at center ice, and a change coming for both teams. Anaheim will stretch things out. Lacombe takes it deeper into his own zone. Got it ahead. The Ducks break it out at center. To the line and in, and down into the corner it goes. Liljegren against the boards, runs into traffic. Pontus Holmberg working the wall efficiently. Got it back to Liljegren, who finds Giordano, who returns it. And now Liljegren banking it off the boards and out into neutral ice. Yarncrook got a piece of his man, but it is shot right back in again. And Liljegren looking for a bank pass and finding Giordano, who quickly gets it ahead. And Domi getting it out at center. Pontus Holmberg in over the line. Mishandles the puck, tries to regain it. And then Yarncrook overskated it. And the Ducks are going to get it into the near corner, but the Leafs trying to get some forecheck after it. And Holmberg can't do much with it there, and then it ends up being a high stick making contact and a stoppage of play. The Leafs nothing, and the Ducks of Anaheim, nothing. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Hi, it's Billy Joel here.
Because you had to be a big shot.
All my music on my very own channel, the Billy Joel Channel.
Billy's in for a limited time starting tomorrow on Channel 79 and on the Sirius XM app. Included in all trials and popular plans.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
You have the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern
on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's Holy Grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
Radio Network.
Leafs nothing and the Ducks nothing. Remember when they were the mighty Ducks of Anaheim? And Disney brought the National Ice Hockey League to a location just down the street from the happiest place on earth. Don't you dare. No. Offside at the Toronto blue line is going to bring the face-off back outside the line.
Yeah.
You know, it's awful when we read each other's minds. Just as well no one else can.
Usually a pretty short read.
Yeah. Here are the Ducks in the center ice area. A delayed offside that the Leafs are going to take advantage of. Benoit, bank pass, tipped to the blue line, but corralled there by Cam Fowler. And the Windsor native gets it up on the wing. A lot of Ontario boys in the roster for the Ducks.
No Radko Gudas, though.
No, Radko Gudas, public enemy number 1. Well, just as well, Joe Wall's not here. And if anything was going to happen there, you would hope that Joe Wall would give him a real good two-hander right over the ankle, a la Ron Hextall.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I just saw something online with some of the highlights of Ron Hextall slashing. And
how do you think he'd handle the Michigan, Mr. Ralph?
Yeah, well, he had Billy Smith. The same Billy Smith was famous for just throwing his stick. A lot of guys would use their butt end. They'll go post to post.
Shot in the slot was blocked. Leafs keep it in. Wired there by Nylander, but blocked by one of the forwards, and it's back out at center ice. In across the line, Brett Leeson trying to work in over the line. Got it freed up. It's poked out at center. Racing after Bertuzzi, but he's not going to get there as it's played back into the corner. Turning with it now is Mintyukov. He got it out at center ice. Overskating the puck then was Lundstrom, who is back into the lineup for Anaheim. Now Bertuzzi down the left wing boards, trying to get into the corner. Ridden in there efficiently by Jackson Lacombe. Back to the blue line. Tipped to the line, but as well out of the reach of Giordano, who had to scamper back. He'll play it ahead as the Leafs are changing. He gets it returned. Giordano with a lead pass at center. Flipped in over the line, and now David Camp racing after the puck. Gets in there to get an angle on one of the defensemen. The puck comes free momentarily. Cleared around back of the net by McGinn. Now chipped to the line. The Leafs trying to keep it in, and Camp backhands it, but doesn't get it in deep enough to his winger. But now the Leafs come away with another turnover. Here's Gregor, dragging him back to the blue line. Rung around the boards. It'll come past McMahon to the near side. Giordano pinched but was unable to come up with the puck. And it's back to the Toronto blue line, and both teams are changing. 9:13 to go first period.
Just a little thing, but Art Giordano pinches down the board. David Camp backs him up right away. And that might have been some of the detail that Sheldon Keefe was not happy with. There might have been missing from David Camp's game to be benched against Carolina.
Well, last night's game was a signature win for the Maple Leafs. If they played like that every night, they're not going to lose too many hockey games. Benoit on the near boards in the Toronto zone, getting it out at center. Played it down into the Ducks zone, and back behind the goal goes Vakanainen. And trying to play it up on the wing, and now rattled around the boards to the near side. Benoit pinches, and then Domi had a bouncing puck that didn't behave, and while he tried to keep it in, it bounced right over his stick. Now he gets it again and fires it in deep. Puck around the boards to the far side. Holmberg couldn't come up with it. Neither could Marner. Teams are changing on the go. 8:17 to go in a scoreless first. Leafs played a scoreless first last night in Los Angeles. Ducks in with a shot. That went high. I thought I heard a little bit of metal there. It may have glanced off the crossbar and went out of play. Face-off coming in the Toronto zone. It is a 0-0 tie. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herron. Experience a new level of luxury at Williamsburg Green. Your new single-family home will have all the modern features you dream about, even a fully finished lower level. Kitchener's newest master plan community with bike trails, parks, and a new library. Williamsburg Green has it all. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
And a truck or two, and a truck or two, and a truck or two, and a truck. Think two-in-a-truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think two-in-a-truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2menintruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks. So give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Nylander closing in a goal! Scores!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Steve Carlson and the Hanson brothers of Slapshot fame sending along a note that Cornelius Dennis Mad Dog Madigan passed away this day. And he played 20 games in the NHL with the St. Louis Blues in the 72-73 season, but was the oldest rookie in history. He was 38 years young when he got his chance, but he played a long time in the minors. I think he was in Slapshot as one of the opposing players. We'll have to double check that. You know what? Let's put our best man on it.
Armin?
Armin, are you listening?
Yeah, this is important.
Well, he's not doing anything of importance.
Yeah, but 38 as a rookie with the St. Louis Blues.
And that's
incredible.
Into the corner in the Toronto zone. The Ducks play it up on the boards. Nyes got there first, then plays it back to Riley, who finds his defense partner, and Brody will get it out at center. Chip to the line and in. Nyes dragged it in with his foot. Had he been able to get it onto his stick, he would have been onside, but he put the play offside with that. And so there'll be a face-off coming in the center ice area. Cornelius Dennis Mad Dog Madigan.
You know, you were saying before the game when we talked about this that the great nicknames are no more.
No.
Really? Maddie and Mitchie.
Maddie and Mitchie and that. No, there's no creativity. There's no thought to it. There's no embarrassment.
No Gump Worsley.
No. I mean, can you imagine getting stuck with Gump?
You know what that was from, too? We go with that.
Here the Leafs with a puck at the blue line, trying to circle. A shot then by Tavares, and that goes up into the screen and out of play.
I believe Gump Worsley was named after a cartoon character named Andy Gump.
Yes, yeah, I remember Andy Gump.
And somehow there might have been a
Probably
similarity.
Yeah.
Well, that's where
the
that
Gumper
came
looked
from.
like a lot of strange people.
But yeah, there was a little more creativity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
From the Golden
I mean,
Jet
like the
to
Big
Mr.
M.
Hockey.
Come on. Another shot rings wide of the Anaheim goal. It comes back to the point. Nylander working down the right wing. Comes in on a sharp angle, and that was stopped by Dostal right on the goal post. Nylander back to the point. Another shot. Kick save. Big rebound, but it got by everyone for the Leafs, who was right on the doorstep. And now Anaheim, a 2-on-1 break. Trying to work in a sprawling play made by Benoit. Leafs are able to break it out. Brought in now by Bertuzzi, who runs out of real estate when he didn't realize the rink's only about 90 feet wide. Shot from Giordano deflects wide. Another shot from the point is swallowed up by Dostal and held. 12 shots on goal now for the Maple Leafs, 7 for Anaheim, and we are still looking for the opening goal of the hockey game.
You like Willie Nylander tries to tuck it short side over the left shoulder of Dostal. Then Simon Benoit with the defensive play of the period for the Leafs. 2-on-1 odd man rush. He sprawls out. Not only does he take away the attempted pass, ends up blocking it, picking it up, and getting the puck out of the Leaf zone.
That index finger is really taped up and padded and everything else. I'm sure he's...
Well, if they gave him the option of playing or taking the night off, you know he's going to want to play against the team he spent 3 seasons with.
Yep, here the Leafs back in the Anaheim zone. Twisting with it is Gregor. Gregor against the boards. Tried to play it back along the wall. McMahon trying to get it back to him. Comes to the point. A shot by Giordano was well wide, and Camp couldn't deflect it to the net. Tried to play it out in front, and it's going to be knocked over on the near wing and carried out at center ice now by Anaheim. Leafs back after it. A delayed offside is negated as the Anaheim player got back onside. Puck played to the line, but not out. Ducks keep it into the corner. In goes McCabe to knock it away, to get it around to his defense partner, and it is launched by Giordano high and down into Anaheim territory. No icing. 5:18 to play in the period. No score. Ducks get it to center and send it down into the Leaf end. Out of the net, steering it into the corner was Jones, but the Ducks come away with it. Back to the point. Drysdale working down the right wing side. Had his shot deflect wide of the Leaf goal. Far side is Vetrano. Trying to pin him there is Domi. Vetrano plays it around the wall to the near side. Chopped that by Holmberg and cleared out into neutral ice. He's doing a good job in their own end of breaking up cycles, boxing out, giving Jones plenty of time to read any kind of a shot. Back to the point, kept in now on near side. Drysdale holds, mirrored there as it comes back to his defense partner. Back to Drysdale down into the corner. He pulls back, works back towards the blue line. Dishes it off to his defense partner on the far side. Back to Drysdale once more. Shot coming. That deflected wide of the net. Good pressure here now by the Ducks as it comes on the near boards for Alex Killorn. Back to Drysdale to Killorn. Closing. Can't shoot it. Back to Drysdale again. Almost a power play going here for Anaheim. Good puck control, but again, the Leafs doing a good job of making sure no one's getting free. And as the puck comes free now, it's cleared out at center ice, and both teams are going to want to get a change going with 3:52. The deflection down into the Toronto end is going to be an icing call.
Okay.
We can tell you that C.J. Murray and Libor Suchanek are the linesmen. John McIsaac and Furman South are the referees.
Greg Cronin, first year behind the bench, first NHL head coaching job with Anaheim, was an assistant coach in Toronto. So joined Spencer Carberry and Dave Haxtell as guys that were assistants in Toronto. We lost DJ Smith and Dallas Eakins.
Shot goes wide of the Anaheim goal.
A pretty good list of
yes, indeed,
assistants that have gone on to head coaching jobs.
Greg Cronin from Long Island has that real New York accent going and was a huge Notre Dame Fighting Irish football fan. We had lots of great discussions about the trials and tribulations of the Fighting Irish. Here's Marner getting a loose puck, freed up, back towards the blue line. Dishes it now to Matthews. He sends it towards the net, and that was deflected off of Dostal just wide of the goal. Matthews keeping it in at the point, but his pass intercepted by Zegras, but then stolen by the Leafs. Here's Marner with it again. Marner works the right wing side. Lots of traffic in front, deflected in front of the goal, and unable to get to it. And now a foot race as Giordano was going to the net when that shot went wide. But the Ducks are in need of a change and just send it in. And the veteran Giordano with the puck now to find Benoit. Benoit will shoot it in. Simon Benoit is looking for his first point as a Maple Leaf. He had his first fight the other night and has been a physical force on that blue line for Toronto. The Ducks come through center. Benoit takes his man wide. Trying to backhand it in was Lundstrom. Knocked away there. Good play made there by Bertuzzi. And now Nylander with a chance on the right wing. And out of the net to take the angle away was Dostal and deflected wide of the goal.
It's already the 18th shot of the period for the Leafs.
Morgan Riley backpedals. Leafs have a couple of days off in California before they will tangle with the Sharks in San Jose. Played out into the center ice area. A rink-wide feed. Broken up at the blue line. And that produces an offside. Willie Nylander's had a couple of real good chances here in the first period, but we're still scoreless. The Leafs nothing and the Ducks nothing. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Congratulations to all our subscribers who took home a fantasy football title this year with the expert advice on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
The winning doesn't stop there. Stick around to dominate DFS hockey and hoops, March Madness, fantasy baseball, and more. The winning never stops on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I won by 5 points thanks to your advice.
I want to help people win more than I want to win myself.
Sirius XM Channel 87 and the Sirius XM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's holy grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to Sirius XM FC 157.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Well, thanks to our man, Armin, Connie Madigan, a.k.a. Slapshot Goon Ross, Mad Dog Madison, who passed away last night. He was introduced as a member of the Syracuse Bulldogs and told the Charlestown Chiefs fans that they were number 1.
He was 42 when he was in that movie.
Wow.
Thanks, Armin, for that pertinent hockey information. Next, we need who played Mr. Drysdale in the Beverly Hillbillies.
And what were the fancy pot passers as it's brought into the offensive zone by the Maple Leafs in against the line boards, trying to pass it into the slot area, but it's intercepted and now brought out by the Ducks and bounced in wide of the Toronto goal into the near corner. McCabe punches it around the wall. It's going to be grabbed off there and laid out at center by Gregor with a minute to go in the first period. A solid, dominant first period by the Maple Leafs that is missing just one ingredient. And that is an opening goal. McTavish in over the line on the left wing for the Ducks. Had it taken away Riley gets it back at the net. Played it up on the wing. Nylander, who's had 2 glorious chances, had it stripped away there by Alex Killorn, who shoots it down into the Toronto zone. Played around the wall. Back it comes to Morgan Riley. He'll ring it around the boards, and it's tipped out at center ice. Killorn going back. 20 seconds left in the period. Vakanainen has it stolen. He's able to play it back out into the center ice area. 10 seconds left now. Brought in by Killorn from an angle. Tried to play it in front. Good save made there. Puck is cleared to the line, but not out. To the point it comes in a shot. Blocked there, and getting up slowly after the block is Morgan Riley. But he pays the price and gets the taps on the pads and the rump as he heads to the bench in the dressing room with a big shot block here.
And you really like, to me, the Leafs' patience in the opening period. You're right, they don't get rewarded with a goal, but they outshoot the Ducks 18-9. And I think if they can take something from last night's win against Los Angeles, it's you don't have to try to get up 3-0 in the first 5 minutes and try to go end-to-end trading chances, especially on the road. So I thought the Leafs were solid in doing that. Martin Jones again steady, but the Leafs did not force them to be the story of the opening period.
Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert are coming your way with our first period intermission, a scoreless first 20 minutes. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Quiet your mind, reduce your stress, and rest easy with channels designed to help you fall asleep easier and faster. In the SiriusXM app, sink into the comforting white noise of a storm shower on Rainfall Radio. Fade out to the soothing sounds of the Sleep Channel, or drift off to the nature sounds with Forest Dreams. Find them all in the SiriusXM app, included with all trials and popular plans. Just search Sleep.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
You have the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey. NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hours are now 15 minutes.
The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button, as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
And on
back
your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
In the chat. Peace.
The points.
And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
I had new Flyers head coach John Tortorella.
And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
I said I don't like the room. Head coach we have a bad room.
And on your schedule with the Sirius XM app.
I said I don't like the room. We have a job. John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points
with Boomer Gordon.
1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio,
Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under Review with Mick Kern.
11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio.
Sirius XM 91 and the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Ward Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert here for your intermissions and post-game this evening as the Toronto Maple Leafs are scoreless after one against the Anaheim Ducks on a back-to-back on the West Coast. But boy, did they beat them in the shot game, so you can get some respect in the handshake line.
Moral victories.
Hang a banner for that. But it was a pretty lopsided first period.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like, wow, like Anaheim, how could you be that lucky to get out of that period unscathed? I don't know if it was like that far. But 18 shots for the Maple Leafs, that was a lot. Most shots in the first period this season for the Maple Leafs so far this year. So definitely a good start. But like, I don't know if it was as impressive as the first period of last night's game. And it wasn't as lopsided. But would I have taken last night's first period? I think I would.
Yeah. Anaheim gets 9 shots on net. I just feel like maybe last night felt a little bit more impactful because the Kings are a little bit more impactful. So it looked like the Maple Leafs had, were matching, going toe-to-toe with some team that people consider to be a Stanley Cup contender, and it was the first game of this West Coast road trip. But yeah, I mean, the Ducks are the Ducks, right? We've talked about it in our pregame show. They are one of the lowest-ranked teams in basically every statistical category except for the Michigan. You're Trevor Zegras, so they're winning that one. But yeah, the Maple Leafs, they did what they needed to do. It was a pretty tight first period. Not a lot of turnovers, not a lot of messiness. But this gets me worried because the Maple Leafs are facing a goaltender, Lucas Dostal, who, I mean, he's only played 38 NHL games. It's one of those type of things where you're thinking, okay, well, the Leafs are up against a lower opponent. They're missing 4. They're regular roster. They're playing a guy that is not, a world beater. All right, is this the type of game where you might get goal lead? I do think you need to get one in pretty soon, right? You can't continue to give this kid confidence. He makes 18 shots in the first period. It's now it's just another 20-minute period. Then it's another 20-minute segment. So, yeah, it would be great for them to, break the seal here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, 18 shots is 18 shots. It's difficult to deal with against an NHL team for sure, but I do think the Maple Leafs could make it harder. And you're right. When you're finding your rhythm, when you see 18 pucks, if you just sort of try to run up that stat count without being a little bit more purposeful with it, you can get in a position where a goaltender like Lucas Dostal just suddenly is feeling unbeatable. And that might be the case if it's not as purposeful. But you did say that, yeah, Anaheim's kind of, less than mid, pretty bad across all categories, certainly a rebuilding team. One area in which they're not too bad around the median is the penalty kill. And really, I thought everything in that period was kind of slanted by one really dominant power play for the Maple Leafs. I mean, we're talking about 18 shots not getting you anything. How about this 2-minute power play not getting you anything for the Maple Leafs? 12 shot attempts, 6 total shots, 9 scoring chances, 5 high danger scoring chances, and 1.3 expected goals across 2 minutes.
That was all in one
That was
power
all
play?
in one power play. And, of course, Ilya Lyubushkin robbed Austin Matthews of a goal during that flurry as well. So I thought the best work was on the power play, and I think it made the period look a little bit more dominant than it was, because for the span of 2 minutes, it looked like, oh yeah, a puck's going in the back of the net. It just didn't happen, part because of Ilya Lyubushkin and part because of some solid goaltending for Anaheim.
Yeah, not much that Martin Jones did or didn't do that period to help further our conversation about if tonight was the right night to put Dennis Hildeby in or not, or if Martin Jones was looking, fatigued whatsoever. 9 shots from Anaheim, nothing that was not played properly. There's nothing that was like world beater. So pretty mid, but that's what you're going to have to do. And I think sometimes it's a bit harder as a goaltender to face less shots and be consistently ready the whole time, right? 9 isn't that bad, but for the first half of that period, there's 2 shots. So he's got to stay engaged, stay focused, stay ready, because there could be a flurry of shots. And it'll be interesting to see how that goes throughout the rest of the game, because Martin Jones might not be challenged as much, But that's sometimes harder for goaltenders to stay with it the entire game, where you're getting 18 shots on the other end. Like, you're in it the entire time. Like, you're building momentum. But Jones didn't really have to do too much that period. Impossible,
though, to argue with the results so far. I mean, 4 periods played in California between LA and Anaheim, and Martin Jones hasn't given up anything. So for now, it's the right call because nothing has got past Martin Jones, at least through 20 minutes tonight.
All right, let's take a quick break. On the other side, we'll give you the out-of-town scoreboard and tie up any loose ends before we send it to the second period. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
NHL All-Star Thursday is coming to Toronto with 3 exciting events in one star-filled night. First, celebrity captains select their teams in the Tim Hortons NHL All-Star Player Draft. Then, the 1967 Stanley Cup champion Maple Leafs are honored in the NHL Alumni Man of the Year. And finally, the best in women's hockey compete in the Canadian Tire PWHL 3-on-3 Showcase. It's NHL All-Star Thursday on February 1st. Buy tickets now starting at $44 at NHL.com/Thursday.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we've introduced Same Game Parlay Plus. It's a game changer. Making a same game parlay across different games has never been easier because the biggest games and most popular markets are now all in one place. Check out Same Game Parlay Plus and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
Take 2 in a truck, 2 in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 in a truck, 2 in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate, as in while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herwin. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Williamsburg Green is everything you want in a community. Enjoy fabulous trails, parks, playgrounds, sports areas, and more. Our beautiful all-brick homes include luxury features you've always dreamed of, even a fully finished lower level. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey.
They score! Holy mackerel, they score!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network. A scoreless first period for the Maple Leafs and Anaheim Ducks on a back-to-back. It didn't look too lethargic, though, I'll say that. Like, we were worried maybe, go from LA to Anaheim. It's 35 minutes. Get a little bit less sleep because of the late night, but looking pretty good out there.
Yeah, I think they looked okay. I think they have a little bit more, or I think they did have a little bit more last night. But I guess the challenge now would be against a lesser team is to keep it up for 60 because we've seen pockets, we've seen decent periods. That thrilling third period against Columbus happened at a loss against a bad team. But it was only 20 minutes of 40 of a complete 60-minute game. So they have more to give, and they have to get one of these next 18 shots through Lucas Dostal.
All right, let's take a look at what else is going around in the NHL tonight. The NHL scoreboard is presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly.
Just one other game going on, and we got 7 minutes left in regulation in that one. The New Jersey Devils are up 5-3 on the Washington Capitals. Ovi so far hasn't been able to make it goals in back-to-back nights, but he does have 2 assists. So 5-3 for the Devils with about 7 minutes left to play.
It doesn't count for the goal-scoring race, though, Justin.
No, and that's what matters in Washington, as we know.
How about the one other out-of-town scoreboard, PWHL?
We could quickly run down that.
Why don't we add that?
I think
Make it audible.
Boston in their home opener lost 3-2 to Minnesota unless an empty netter went in.
No, it did not.
But Minnesota getting a victory, so adding that to Montreal over Ottawa the previous night.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, New York spoiled the party at Mattamy.
No home teams have won yet.
No, I guess we're trying. And I think every under hit. So we're trying to pick up on some trends. The road dogs and the unders hitting so far in the P-dub.
Yeah, I think maybe those like home openers really get everybody kind of distracted, and the other team can profit.
Yeah, maybe that's the case.
There's a lot of shenanigans and excitement going on, but
Minnesota's a good team though, and they look pretty. They look like they had some firepower.
Yeah, every team's gonna be good. That's the beauty of it all. Maybe better than the Anaheim Ducks. We'll see. We got 2 periods left, and on the other side of the break, Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph will have the call of the second period next. 0-0 after 1. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
It's Week 18 in the NFL. Playoff spots are on the line, and there's only one place for all the action.
Touchdown! Josh Allen, the beast, has been released!
And that's the Sunday Drive. This is Bill Eckes. Join Steve Torrey and me at noon Eastern for live listen-ins, guests, playoff implications, and coaching news around the NFL.
You know, it's a playoff atmosphere, a really good team.
Spend Week 18 with the Sunday Drive at noon Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Patrick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter!
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on SiriusXM FC 157 and streaming on the SiriusXM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91.
Leafs Radio Network.
Score after 20 minutes of play. Brent Leeson of the Anaheim Ducks will certainly know how Fraser Minton and Easton Cowan, the 2 draft picks of the Toronto Maple Leafs, who were part of the Team Canada World Junior team this year. Leeson was part of the 2019 Team Canada that did not come home with any kind of a medal. And the last time that's happened until this year, a tough loss for the Canadian kids who lose on a goal late in the third period.
Off a skate.
Off a skate, off the post and in. Yep, the hockey gods were not with them, but a couple of good young prospects that the Leafs are very excited about. And we're ready to go here with the second period. The Leafs 2 hour left and the Ducks to the right as it's shot in. 18 shots on goal for the Maple Leafs in the first period, 9 for the Ducks. Tip to the line. Leafs trying to play it in with Nyes. looking to find Marner. It comes back to Matthews, just kept in at the blue line. He weaves around to the near side, still with it, pulls the brakes on, tries to elude one, goes back to the point with it. Shot by Benoit is deflected wide of the net. Marner centering it back in front, and a quick shot by Knies was just stopped there by goaltender Dostal. Now here's Marner working the blue line, being chased hard, puts the brakes on to elude one man, reverses his field and tries to keep it alive. And now the puck finally grabbed off by Vakananen and played out into the center ice area. Leafs with it again at center. Off the boards by Tavares into the zone. Cleared high. Nylander tried to get a glove on it. Maybe he did. It must have gone out of play. Faceoff coming inside the zone here, I believe.
By the way, the shots for the Leafs in the first period, 18 is a season high for the opening period. And they have the high danger chances at 12-1 for Toronto in the opening period.
Leafs had 7 attempts blocked and 9 missed the net. So it was rather dramatic. Face off in the Anaheim zone. Nylander had the 2 best scoring chances, I would surmise, in the period.
Matthews on the goal line was...
Yep. Oh, right.
One. Yeah,
yep. Here's Tavares with a backhand that went wide of the net. Creeping down the boards, Liljegren trying to hold it on the near half boards. Knocked down on the play. It comes back to the blue line. Tavares filling in for him, is able to get it free and couldn't carry it to the front of the net. Tavares after the puck with a bounce as it comes free. And now here's Vetrano getting it out, and the Ducks will get it to center and roll it down into the Leaf end. Liljegren hustles in after it. No score. We're into the second period. Pass all the way out into the center ice area as the Ducks were changing. And Jackson Lacombe has to go back for it. Pass intercepted at the Leaf blue line. Roll back down into Anaheim territory. Lacombe will play it up the middle. Circling back to gain some skating room. And brought to center now by Lundstrom. Sent in out of the net. Jones played it into the corner. Liljegren unable to make a play as he is too well covered. Draws a crowd in along the boards. McGinn has it up against the wall. Liljegren knocks him down. Puck squirts free. Brody after it. Going to get some assistance here from David Camp, who'll skate it out at center and bank it to the line and tip it down into Anaheim territory. A centering pass looking for Gregor didn't work. Comes back to the blue line. Brody backhands it into the slot. Not much on that. And it's grabbed by Jamie Drysdale, who will start out. The Ducks get it to center. Played it down into the Toronto zone. Brody on the near side. A lead pass at center. Chipped in over the line by Noah Gregor. McMahon couldn't come up with it. Domi in the middle of a line shift. Unable to come up with it. Stolen at the blue line by Yarncrook, but on the wrong side of the blue line. He was going to take it right down the heart of the slot, but it was offside.
Well, one break that the Leafs get in this game is that one of their top players, Terry, not in the lineup. The Anaheim Ducks, he's listed as day-to-day with a lower body injury.
Domi lost the draw to Sam Carrick. And it's played down into the Toronto end. Launched back out at center. Leafs have to go back after a loose puck now. And they'll bank it into neutral ice, and Yarncrook sends it off on the left wing with skating room and a shot, but from well out. That is gloved off the stick of Max Domi and held.
You know, that's twice now in this game. Watching Lucas Dostal, where he never butterflied, never left his feet. Remember, Willie Nylander had the chance down the right wing side in the first period. He stood up, stayed tall, made the save, and here Max Domi off the left wing side. Dostal does the same thing.
Changing the way the goaltenders play?
Well, would you not admit that's a rarity now?
Yeah, no, yeah. I'm with you. Played on the backhand by Gould out at center. Holmberg brings it right back in again, dropping it back, and another shot this time. Dostal is down in the butterfly and is able to cover up on it. On a shot by Callie Yarncrook. A lot of Ontario boys, as we mentioned. Cam Fowler from Windsor, Jamie Drysdale from Toronto, Adam Henrique from Brantford, Ryan Strome not in the lineup, a Mississauga boy. Then you've got Brock McGinn from Fergus and Sam Carrick from Markham. So a lot of Ontario presence in the lineup for the Ducks of Anaheim.
There'll be a few ticket requests from the Ducks playing Toronto.
I would think. Puck goes to the side of the goal and now back of the net. Leafs trying to kick it out in front. Matthews off the wing, back of the net. Marner a little reverse, now trying to come out. Backhand pass through the goal crease, and Nyes couldn't get a stick on it. Here's Marner sending it out there again. Nyes with a shot. This time he did get his stick on it, and Dostal had to make a pretty good save. At the point, trapped there by Nyes. Into the slot and a shot, and he wired it high and wide. Matthews, after a loose puck, can't come up with it. Around the boards, the Ducks play to an open corner. And it's going to be launched by Jones, but not out. Kept alive. Marner down into the corner. Matthews with a twisting move and a shot short side. Stopped by Dostal with his left shoulder. Back into the slot again for Giordano. Back into the corner. Trying to twist and turn with it. Nyes still with it. Another twist and turn trying to elude Cam Fowler. Still with it. A centering pass. Tavares a shot. And that went off as now Matthews to the bench. Tavares back of the goal as the Leafs are getting a change in here with the puck still in the Anaheim zone. Morgan Riley unable to keep it in. It's bounced down into the Toronto zone. Brody racing after it. Gets tangled up there with Max Jones, but comes away with the loose puck. Jones is exhausted and heading to the bench. Bertuzzi down the right wing and in. Bertuzzi around one, and then it rolled off the stick before he could get a shot away in the slot area. 14:51 to go, second period. This game looking for its opening goal. Killorn plays it down into the corner. The former Tampa Bay Lightning gives Brody a bit of a shove from behind. Puck pushed up on the boards, and Nylander finds his man, and then a lead pass for Nylander. Denies icing, but he can't take it to the net. Swung it around the boards, and it's cleared to center ice, and the Leafs have to go back and get onside. Rifled right back in again by Jake McCabe. Down the boards, a centering pass by McCabe. Unable to shoot it there was Gregor. To the point now, a shot blocked in front of the net. Comes to the blue line, and Simon Benoit will have to go back to retrieve it. Now ahead on the right side. David Camp, fourth line out there as it rolls into the goal crease. And before Gregor could get to it, Lucas Dostal has put a hand on it and stopped play. It is still a scoreless tie. The Leafs and the Ducks. And the Leafs coming close as Nyes cranks one off the goal post. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Bet365 doesn't do ordinary. That's why they've introduced Same Game Parlay Plus. It's a game changer. Making a same game parlay across different games has never been easier because the biggest games and most popular markets are now all in one place. Check out Same Game Parlay Plus and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connexontario.ca.
Truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2-minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2-minute truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks. So give us a call today.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Heathwood's all-brick homes are built with upgraded features and elevated finishes. Chef-inspired kitchens, spa-like en-suites, and a fully finished lower level. Even better, Williamsburg Green has parks, playgrounds, and trails to explore. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
You remember when I asked during the first period what the fancy puck passers was in the Beverly Hillbillies? Twitter has already got the answer for us. The pool cues, of course.
Of course, that was the fancy eating table.
Fancy eating table, yes. Granny was very impressed with that. God, you think about the television thought process. Here's an idea. Let's take a couple of people from the Ozarks, give them $1 million and send them to Beverly Hills. That'll work out. And we all watched it. Here the Ducks in on the left wing. Zegras trying a shot, and that is swallowed up and will be held. Zegras, of course, one of 8 players who have done the Michigan. Now, he's done it 3 times. Andrei Shevchenko has done it twice. Philip Forsberg, along with Kent Johnson, and now Connor Bedard have done it once.
That last play, it was a stick break by Matthew Nyes. Yeah, I mean, I suppose until goaltenders or defensemen start to play it differently or anticipate it, you're probably going to see more before.
Well, at some point in time, someone's going to say the puck is up around your face. I'm going to slash at it, and someone's going to get hurt, I think. But as we said, Ron Hextall would have fixed that in a hurry. Here the Ducks at center, dumping it in. Pretty good hit in the center ice area. And a whistle here, and we've got a fight. McMahon and Lyubushkin. Now the hit was behind the play. I didn't see it on our monitor, but Lyubushkin has obviously taken exception to it, and now the two have wrestled them where both of them down onto the ice.
And here where we're going to struggle with the consistency again in the officiating. It looks like McMahon was the one that administered the hit, Joe.
Yeah, and it was Mintukov who took the hit.
We'll see. Now, I don't. I'm not sure if there was a penalty. I mean, this looked like it was right in the numbers.
Yeah, shoulder to shoulder.
You know what? That's shoulder to shoulder.
Pretty good hit. Yep. But now we've had twice where the Leafs have been charged the aggressor in the fight after a hit. And now we've had like about 3 times where the Leafs have been involved in a fight after a hit. And no aggressor penalty.
No, and sometimes what the officials can do or have done to get rid of the misconduct, if you're going to get the aggressor, they'll change it from an instigator to a roughing penalty. And see, I don't think here, I mean, this is shoulder to shoulder. At first, I thought, at first glance, that it was from behind. But it is shoulder to shoulder.
Yep.
And I think it was because
now they're looking at that.
It was a follow through of the pass up ice that I think put him in the vulnerable position, and a little bit off balance. McMahon's left skate does get in between the legs of the Anaheim defenseman, and he is cut pretty bad. There's some blood on the ice by the boards. This is going to be an interesting call. It certainly looked bad when you saw it at full speed the first time. But slowed down, you could see, I mean, this is left shoulder to right shoulder. And about 10 feet from the board, so it'll be interesting to see. Now, one thing we haven't seen as well is there an instigator on this?
Yeah, I haven't seen any announcement or anything that has been on.
Yeah, this is not... To me, it's not a hit from behind. Lose him to the dressing room now? Or is he... No, looks like he's going to stay on the bench. So now the officials are still discussing it. I would be shocked if it was a major for boarding.
Well, here it is. Herman South with the announcement.
74 Toronto assessed a 5-minute major in game misconduct for boarding and a 5-minute for fighting. 46 Anaheim is assessed a 2-minute penalty for instigating, 5 for fighting, and a 10-minute misconduct.
Okay.
I'm in shock over that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that McMahon's getting the gate and getting a major penalty for that. But
to me, essentially what you're saying is you cannot body check anyone within 10 feet of the boards. Right? I mean, that's where the hit was, and it was shoulder to shoulder, and they've looked at it. So I don't know. You know, looking at it again, I mean, you could say maybe the angle, but it seemed to be more because the players on the follow through, you know, he's kind of falling away from the middle of the ice. But anyway, the Leafs, they will play 4-on-4 for 2 minutes.
2 minutes, and then be a man short for 3, right?
Yeah.
Now,
I mean,
you know, one of the things, and we've talked about this as well. Instead of reacting, they are initiating, and that has happened a lot.
Yeah, even last night.
Yes,
in the game against
absolutely.
the LA Kings.
So I mean, it's a physical aspect of it. Yeah. Bobby McMahon, I agree with you, but he was initiating some real good body contact, and now we've got 4-on-4 here, and then a 3-minute power play opportunity for.
By the way, Jason Zucker's been suspended for 3 games on a boarding penalty for hitting Nick Cousins, who...
He's become public enemy number 1, hasn't he?
Cousin Hiska Branson in Columbus was a 5. They reviewed it to a 2. And then Cousins turtled twice.
Here's Matthews getting it into the zone on the left wing side. Trying to work back with Brody. Now to Riley into the corner. Centering effort by Marner didn't work. Out back of the net. Marner with it again. Stick handles between his legs and comes out of the corner with it. Works back now to send it back to Matthews. Dropped off to Marner. Marner looking into the slot. Still with it. Drops it off on the left wing side. It's going to be grabbed off there by the Maple Leafs and maintained. Marner once more with a shot. This one goes off the shoulder of Dostal and up into the screen and out of play.
And again, Dostal stays on his feet. Shot from well out. Good puck control by this group of 4 on the ice for the Leafs. Mitch Marner might have had the best opportunity. Boy, that last one hit Dostal, went off the forehead. So that was probably going, 2 feet over the net?
Might have played out because he was standing up. Minute 13 before the Ducks go to the power play. And we talked about the differential. 114 times they've been on the power play this year. 162 times they've been a man short.
Well, I mean, we have, obviously, this is just one game. And I will admit, I have not watched the Anaheim Ducks play a lot of games, so I got part of their...
But you don't like to stay up and watch hockey?
I did see them. Adam Henrique had a 3-goal game in New Jersey against his former team.
You're not big on watching their home games.
Tonight I am. But you could see how they've been chasing the play quite a bit.
Yep. Now the Leafs. Nylander closes. Shot deflected off his stick and went wide. The Leafs unable to keep it in. And it's back at the center ice area now for Liljegren. Liljegren to McCabe. McCabe to center. In on the left side. Looking for Nylander in front. Then a shot taken off the wing by Tavares. Is gloved by Dostal and held. Face-off coming in the offensive zone. 12-10 remaining in the second period. Still no score in the hockey game. And the Leafs dominating everything. 27-10 shots on goal favoring the Maple Leafs.
I'm going to throw this one at you, though. With Austin Matthews, we talked how many times he's gone 5-hole this year and how Dostal has stayed on his feet. Does that mean Austin Matthews might be able to take advantage of that low, hard shot in the middle of the ice?
Draw one by the Ducks. 44 seconds left in the 4-on-4. Played off on the wing by Fowler to the right wing side. They work in over the line. Fowler carries on, goes around back of the net. Engaged there by Liljegren. Played up on the wing, and the pass intercepted and pushed ahead. Marner with a chance down the right wing, and a drive. And that was stopped by Dostal, who came way out to cover off the angle and took it off the blocking glove. There was no option for Marner other than to shoot the puck. And he delivered. Pretty good shot. 10 seconds left, and now Anaheim with a 3-minute advantage on the power play.
Not even at the midway mark of the second period, the Leafs are out shooting the Ducks 28-10. But Anaheim, a huge opportunity here.
Drop off from Jamie Drysdale. Brought on at center and shot into the zone by Zegras. Trapped on the far boards, pushed ahead, and Nylander breaks. Willie's to the line and in. He's also got Brody with him. It makes a nifty little move and then got a shot away. And that was high off the blocking glove of Dostal. Camp up forechecking. Anaheim back. Leafs have scored 4 shorthanded goals this year, and Willie has one of them. And across the line, Willie has 2 of them. Back to the blue line. It comes on the left wing side. Killorn dropping it back to the point. Drysdale doesn't shoot it. Then a shot is stopped by Jones. There was a juicy rebound that just slid ever so slowly through the blue paint, but the Leafs were the first to secure it and send it down the ice. Minute 55 in the power play. And it's a major penalty as the Leafs intercept. And now Yarncrook will just steer it down the ice and head to the bench. Fowler circles the goal and starts up ice. Looking for a lead pass. Got it up on the left wing. Into the zone goes Max Jones. Send it into the goal crease. And McCabe comes up swinging a little bit to clear things away from his goaltender. And you love this. This is just a different DNA for this club to be as aggressive as they have been. And certainly it's a process. It's nothing. And Ryan Reeves is not part of it. I mean, he's not.
This is about team toughness.
It is, absolutely.
By the way, it looks like Willie Nylander might have grazed the crossbar with that opportunity, the shorthanded rush that he had. Anyway, Martin Jones maybe made his best save on a one-timer from the right wing circle. 9:56 to go here in the second period. 1:33 to go in the Anaheim power play.
And the draw won by Toronto, but they play it back of the goal, and it's cut off there by Anaheim. Back to the point to Fowler. Fowler holds, dished off on the right wing side. Shot blocked there by Giordano. This is a recording. Back to the point again to Fowler. Fowler works to the middle of the ice. Works to the top of the circles. Works back to the blue line. Still with it. Off on the right wing side. Got it back again into the slot. Back to Fowler once more. Shot coming. Deflected right on. And Jones is there. And who's that in behind? The other Jones for Anaheim. Hoping that something might pop out underneath the goaltender. And again, the troops arrive to make sure nothing else is going to come of it.
Well, when you talk about, remember Fred Shiro, the coach of the Philadelphia Flyers during their Broad Street Bully days in the Stanley Cup time, they used to always have little quotes on the blackboard. One was, the shortest distance between two places is a straight line. Take it and arrive in ill humor.
Ill humor. And a lot of his players had to ask him what that meant.
Well,
they had another term for it.
If they had to ask, they figured it out in a hurry.
Yeah, they did. Yes, they did. Rattled around the boards. The Leafs don't clear at the blue line. Kept in there by Anaheim. Down into the corner it goes. Nylander out there for the Maple Leafs in a penalty kill. Dropped off by McTavish. It comes back on the boards. McTavish looking for a pass back at the point. Gets it. Now works to the left wing side. The one-timer. Blocked there. Down is Jones. Fishing around for a loose puck, but doing a great job of boxing out is McCabe. And then Killorn gives him a bit of a face wash while he's down lying on Killorn's stick.
And Killorn is chirping at McCabe. But McCabe had a pretty good grasp on the stick of Killorn when he went down. He fell and then lodged it under his left elbow. And that's why Killorn was trying to extract his stick now.
And there's going to be a penalty here.
Killorn might get a penalty to this. So why does this happen? It's because Killorn reacts to McCabe.
Yeah. Who initiates.
Yes.
Yep.
So it looks like we are going to go now. Greg Cronin, I still think this is kind of a weak call. I mean, this was, barely a tap on the head. But Killorn is going to go for roughing. at 10:57, and the Leafs soon will go back on the power play. 4-on-4 for 41 seconds. So it looks like Max Domi is going to be out with Bertuzzi, McCabe, and Liljegren. Then I imagine the big boys will climb over the boards.
Leafs win the face-off. Back to the point. McCabe, a shot right on. And Bertuzzi was there, but the rebound exploded so far off Dostal's pad that Bertuzzi couldn't corral it. McTavish trying to work his way out at center. No score here in the second period. Drysdale's ringing the boards to the far side. Vetrano tries to get to it, but the Leafs come up with it, but give the puck away in the slot, and a high rising shot went wide. Bertuzzi trying to tie his man up, comes back to Drysdale, doesn't shoot it. Drysdale working the line. Drysdale tripped up, actually tripped himself. Boy, that would have been embarrassing if there'd been a penalty call there. And now a 2-on-1 down low. They score! Vetrano! So the Leafs are going to go to the power play in need of trying to tie the game.
I think this is actually going to go down as a shorthanded goal, Joe. I think the penalty to McMahon had just expired. And Jake McCabe, I believe it was, Joe, had the great opportunity to clear the puck. Couldn't get it out. And seconds later, Frank Vetrano scores his 18th goal of the season. As there is absolutely nobody in front of the net except the Anaheim forward. 18th goal, 27.
11:41, the time of the goal.
Yeah, and it's going to be shorthanded. Unconventional.
Yep. Now here's Marner with the power play. Down low, Matthews in front of the net. Willie! And that was swallowed up by Dostal, who has been solid here for Anaheim with 1:02 to go in the power play. Nylander's had 3 real good looks. And this one goes off the shoulder and into the glove.
Well, the Leafs, by the way, 180 games without being shut out. Worked last night, didn't it?
I did. It worked perfect. Here, the Leafs with it again. Now, centering pass went off a stick, and it finds Matthews. Matthews down low to Marner. Marner holds back to Matthews, far half boards. Marner getting it back to the blue line to Riley. Riley will walk the line. Works to the middle. Overhandled it. Got it back to Matthews. Matthews down low. A little chip in front of the net by Marner, but Tavares couldn't get to it. Tavares stationed in front as Nylander gets it to Marner. He goes around back of the net. Still with it. Centering pass. Knocked away, and it's shot out and down the ice by Anaheim. 28-15. The Leafs out shooting the Ducks, but it's 1-0 Anaheim on a shorthanded goal by Vetrano. Leafs in across the line. Marner dropping it back. Nylander stick handles away from one defender. Works down into the corner. Left it there, but Marner wasn't expecting it, and it shot out and down the ice as the penalized player, Killorn, comes out of the penalty box. So the Leafs are 0 for 2 on the power play and giving up their 6th shorthanded goal against. And we get an icing call here against the Ducks as the faceoff is going to come in the Anaheim zone.
Well, Leafs who were letter perfect last night in Los Angeles against the Kings and very good tonight. But now the one glaring error ends up in their own net. And they're going to have to battle back from that. 6:42 to go here in the second period.
McTavish and Drysdale get the assists on the goal, Jimmy. Puck stopped at the blue line momentarily, but now shot down the ice. Race for it. Icing waved off. Pretty generous call by the linesman, but the Leafs are going to break it out at center ice. Domi hits the line and feathers it off on the right side for Pontus Holmberg. Holmberg carries around back of the net, gets into the corner with some room, and then a pass between the two defensemen ends up going all the way back down the ice. Liljegren. 6 minutes and 6 seconds to go in the period. Bounce down into The offensive zone brought out at center now by the Ducks. They work in over on the left wing. McGinn with a long shot that is deflecting and going up into the screen. And with 5:52 to play in the second period, the Leafs trail in the game 1-0 on a goal by Frank Vatrano, his 18th. A shorty. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
The playoff mentality to come in here with one job in mind and just find a way to win.
It's the final week of the NFL regular season, and playoff hopes are on the line.
They win it at home, and now the playoff chances still live.
Who advances? Who goes home? We're previewing all the key matchups and playoff scenarios right now on NFL Radio Channel 88.
They're already in playoff mode as their season is on the line.
As the drama plays out, hear every game with the hometown announcers on your radio and on the SiriusXM app.
24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button, as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
Game.
Trying to get behind, wrist the line, and walks in, put it between his legs, shoots it, score!
NHL play-by-play on SiriusXM.
Leafs Radio Network.
Maple Leafs trail in the game 1-0. The opening goal coming from Vatrano, from McTavish and Drysdale. Short-handed. And the story of the game right now is Lucas Dostal, who has faced 31 shots.
I don't know if I can remember the last time the Leafs played where you could say at the end of the game they were beat by a hot goalie.
Shot from a sharp angle, stopped by Jones, covered up, and then McCabe flattens Mason McTavish, who was cutting across in front of the Leaf goal.
By the way, Frank Vatrano was open to scoring. Got off to, even though we talked about Austin Matthews opening the season with back-to-back hat tricks, Vatrano had 9 goals in his first 9 games of the season, including 2 hat tricks. He has hit the 20-goal mark twice in his NHL career. 24 is his career high, and he's well on his way to eclipsing that.
Nylander in on the right side, goes wide and around back of the net. Tried to center it in front of the net for Tavares, but it was cleared away to the line, but not out. Leafs are able to keep it in. Down around back of the net into the far corner. Nylander getting there. Tavares tips it a little further. Now trying to work it along the boards, but it was too well covered. In comes Bertuzzi. He frees it up for Nylander. Backhanded in front. Tavares tipped it wide of the goal. Launched high to center ice, and Liljegren will be forced back in his own end. Plays it on a bank, off a leg, down into Anaheim territory. 4:58 to play here in the third. Leafs trailing 1-0. Vatrano starts out on the left wing. Works his way to center. Got it off a skate. Corralled by the Maple Leafs. Riley played it out, and it hits.
Too many men.
Somebody going to the bench.
It was Frank Vatrano, I think, had it hit him, but was his replacement on the ice first? And I'm going to say yes, because Greg Cronin has his hands out.
Oh, wait a minute
the
here.
officials, but now.
Anaheim penalty. Bench minor for too many men on the ice.
Yes, it is. The Leafs go to their third power play opportunity of the game.
Yeah, somebody late getting off, but a great chance for the Leafs to get things evened up here late in the second.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Unhibernate. A verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage, I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Heathwood's all-brick single-family homes come with a long list of features you've always dreamed of. Gourmet kitchens, freestanding tubs, and even fully finished lower levels. Dare to compare and you'll see why it's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
Take 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 men in a truck, 2 men in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
Long shot, deflects in front of the goal. They backhanded into the net.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Leafs going to the power play, trying to end a 0 for 10 drought with the man advantage. They're 0 for 2 here tonight, and they're going to have to start all the way back into their own zone.
Even in the last 4+ games, 2 for 16.
And Martin Jones' shutout streak ended here at 11:41 of the second period. Marner, left wing side, Matthews, too well covered at the blue line, fed ahead, and the Ducks will now send it down into the corner. Anaheim now with their 5th shorthanded goal scored this season. Marner plays it ahead. Matthews to Nylander. Nylander sends it in front of the net, and it was tipped by Matthews, but it went wide. Willie secures the rebound. Marner at the right side with a feathered pass in front of the net with a half slapper that was intercepted and knocked down the ice. He was looking for Tavares on the doorstep. Leafs start out. Matthews hits the line on the wing for Tavares. Back it goes to Liljegren. Near side now for Nylander. Back to Willie. Liljegren to the far side. Gets it returned. Closes down low. Nylander trying to get a shot, and it's gloved by goaltender Dostal, and a face-off coming.
Just been amazed at how many times he's got the puck standing on his feet. You know, there's been a lot of discussions on how so many goaltenders have struggled in the National Hockey League. And you can see, Joe, there's space. And the 5 holes, the Leafs might have to readjust. They've also seen some pretty big rebounds as the second power play unit has come out.
Draw one by Toronto. Liljegren at the right point. Now to Domi at the near half board. Took a shot, and that deflected wide. Knies with it on the left wing. Carries down. Played it over for Domi, but it was off a stick and comes to center ice. Liljegren stretching it out. Gets it to Domi. Domi works back in his own zone. Cuts in front of his own goal with the coverage right on him. And now Liljegren takes the drop pass and gets to center, and it's going to rattle it in. Slowed up by the goaltender as it goes into the far corner. Knies is late getting there, and it's going to be swept around the boards. Liljegren gave it a game effort to get there to keep it in. The linesman says it was outside the blue line and blew the play dead. 5 seconds left to go in a power play that has just left the Maple Leafs over the last number of games, as this will be 0 for 11 if they can't score in a big-time hurry here.
At least the power play in the opening period. The Leafs had all kinds of scoring opportunities. I believe 6 shots they launched on goal. But that power play is just flat. One we just saw here.
Penalty is expired. Brought on by the Leafs down the right wing with David Camp. Played it back at the net. Holmberg got it up on the wing. Back along, looking for Gregor in the corner. Holmberg playing on this line with the absence of Bobby McMahon, who was banished from the game. Around back of the net now. Here's Noah Gregor curling out with speed. Got away from one. Got a shot away, but it wasn't much on it, and it went harmlessly wide. Now it comes back to him again. He works it back towards the front of the net. Bounced off a body. Then a shot was deflected wide of the net. Holmberg had his stick knocked out of his hands, much to his dismay that no call was made. And now here are the Ducks getting it in over the line. Nice drop pass, but then trying to feed was Killorn, and it rolled off his stick. He had a great chance down low. Centering pass. Good save there made by goaltender Martin Jones. Tavares. Left wing pass in on the boards. Back for Tavares. He curls in the far corner. Still has it as he comes back to the blue line. Off to Willie. Nylander holds. Still with it. Steps around one, but couldn't get a shot away. And then the Ducks are able to get it out into the center ice area. Minute 22 left to go. And we get a whistle here for some reason.
I think it might have been a quick offside as the puck just did escape the Leaf zone. And now you're getting into that dangerous area where you're down one. And any mistake, any bad bounce against could put you in a huge hole. Leafs not nearly as sharp here in the second period as they were in the opening 20. Did have to kill off a 5-minute major, but really only 3 minutes of that. Actually, less than 3 minutes because Killorn took the penalty and he had the instigator as well.
Played down into the Anaheim zone. Minute 8 left to go in the period. The Ducks send it out past everyone down the ice, and an icing call coming here. Minute and 1 second remaining in the period. 1-0 in favor of the Ducks. But I think Sheldon Keefe has to be pleased with the almost 5 periods they played in state of California.
Pretty impressive periods on the road, especially. I mean, they've been patient. Even now's not the time to start to gamble and have the defenseman pinch. Try to create offense. There's still lots of time.
Win the draw. Shot by Marner went off a player and went wide. Now at the side of another shot by Marner, looking for the short side, and that went off a body in front of the net. Cleared out at center ice. Settled down now for Liljegren. Liljegren to Marner. Marner playing it back in his own zone. Got it up on the wing. Matthews chipping it in. Morgan Riley works down into the corner. Tied up his man there, and Lundstrom got some help from Matthews, but it is stolen away, and the Ducks will get it out at center. Good body work done there by the Maple Leafs on the boards to free the puck up. Liljegren plays it ahead, chipped in by Nyes. Out of the net comes Dostal, playing it into the corner. The Ducks get it up on the left wing. Just seconds remain. In across the line comes Trevor Zegras. In around back of the net, a pass in front, knocked to the side of the goal, and Brody will take it into the corner with 3 seconds left, and that will do it. So the only goal of the game is Vetrano from McTavish and Drysdale just after a penalty that saw the Leafs go to the power play started up. So a shorthanded goal at 11:41 is the only one on the board.
So far this year, when the Ducks have led after 2 periods of play, they're 6-1. So the Leafs will try to come back. They've come back 6 times in the 15 times they've trailed after 2. 3-9-3. Their record when doing so, but within a shot of the Anaheim Ducks here.
15-9. The Leafs outshoot the Ducks in the second period, but they trail 1-0. Ailish Forfar along with Justin Cuthbert coming along with our second period intermission. It is 1-0 Anaheim. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Let's go, football fans.
This week on Let's Go with Tom Brady and Larry Fitzgerald and me, Jim Gray.
I love the way how the NFL has kind of changed the schedule, and there's a lot of good football games, and that's what makes it fun to watch. It all matters, and everyone's put a lot of effort into the season, and I know when I was in that marathon, man, it was hard. It was hard to get to this part of the year.
Listen now to the extended version of Let's Go, exclusively on the SiriusXM app, included with all our trials and popular plans.
Let's go, baby. Let's go.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time. Patrick Waugh, when you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and on your schedule with the Sirius XM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Point with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kerr. 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
Hey Toronto, I'm David Morsuti, host of the daily Toronto Maple Leafs podcast, Locked On Leafs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network on the Sirius XM app. Every weekday, we bring you the latest Leafs news and analysis, break down all the action, including this game you're listening to right now, and preview the next one. We're giving you everything a Leafs fan could want, all in a daily 30-minute podcast. Download Locked On Leafs right now on the Sirius XM app, available with all trials and popular plans, or where you get your podcasts. Search Locked On Leafs.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Boy, that would have been embarrassing if there'd been a penalty call there. And now a 2-on-1 down low. They score! Vetrano!
I think the penalty to McMahon had just expired. And Jake McCabe, I believe it was, Joe, had the great opportunity to clear the puck. Couldn't get it out. And seconds later, Frank Vetrano scores his 18th goal of the season.
All right, we're back on Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar and Justin Cuthbert for your intermissions and post-game today. Leafs trail 1-0 after 40 minutes, and a lot happened in that second period. The first period we were saying something's got to give. Leafs were out shooting by a significant margin, and we got both a fight, a misconduct, and a technically shorthanded goal from the Anaheim Ducks. Where do you want to start?
Let's go with the McMahon hit because everything kind of changed after that, right? The flow of the game definitely favored the Toronto Maple Leafs until Bobby McMahon stepped up and laid what looked like, at least in my opinion, I guess we haven't really gone over this, a pretty clean hit on Pavel Mintyukov of the Anaheim Ducks. It's reviewed. He did go to the box because he fought afterwards. It's reviewed, though, and he's given a 5-minute major game misconduct. And then the game sort of devolves into a special teams battle, and a mistake is made inside the defensive zone for the Toronto Maple Leafs. And there you go. It's 1-0 Anaheim, and now the Maple Leafs are chasing a game in which that they've dominated. So your thoughts on the McMahon hit and how it did change the game?
Yeah, we're fortunate to be able to see it like a bunch of different angles here.
The referees were as well.
Yeah, and they took their time, right? Like it wasn't an immediate decision. The decision was made and then reviewed for a little bit, and we saw quite a few angles. And I mean, it is shoulder to shoulder contact. It is probably like 10 feet from the boards, which is, I guess, which is dangerous, right? They're both going pretty fast, but it looks like...
And the reason probably why there was an injury on the play. Mintyukov was cut.
He hit his face off like the dasher around the boards, but Mintyukov is going to shoot the puck and sees McMahon coming. So he's trying to like turn his body a little bit to get the shot off. And while he's doing that, Bobby McMahon still hits him shoulder to shoulder. And like that's very visible on the video replay from every angle. But since he's turning a little bit to protect himself to get the shot off, he then goes with that momentum of his own body face first into the dasher. But like this, we see this all the time now with hockey is hitting that if you're not putting yourself in a position to receive the hit properly, you can put yourself in a situation like we just saw where you're unfortunately going to be going pretty fast into the boards head first. Looks like he's going to be okay. Just had to get stitched up a bit. But I mean, in no way was I anticipating that being a 5-minute major and a game misconduct. I could see the validity for boarding. I could see that. And I think that was pretty well stated.
It was officially called boarding, yeah.
But for it to be a game misconduct was where I was really just not aligned. It's like, I saw a bunch of people tweeting this, so it's not my joke, but it's like double IHF refs have made it to the NHL, right? Because, you know, there we see things that kind of don't make sense in the regular NHL game. But yeah, I think McMahon wasn't a dirty play. He was trying to finish his check. The distance from the boards made it a bit more sticky, but I don't think it should have been a game misconduct in any shape or form.
No, I don't either. It's affected this game, but I hope it doesn't affect Bobby McMahon, because this is what you need from Bobby McMahon. You need, because there's not many guys on this roster who provide that, but you need an element of your game, punishment and physicality and forecheck and grind. And you need to be able to have a couple guys on your roster. And Bobby McMahon needs this as part of his skill set, or else he's less of an NHL player. And he's already scratching and clawing as a 27-year-old rookie or a 27-year-old to be that player. So this is what you need out of Bobby McMahon. And to take that away from him is problematic. In no way do I think this should have been a 5-minute major, called a 5-minute major after review. You have to be able to protect yourself. You have to be able to throw shoulder-to-shoulder hits. And Bobby McMahon threw a shoulder-to-shoulder hit, and Pavel Mintyukov didn't properly protect himself.
Yeah,
and
that's what it comes down to.
I don't think he should be bailed out by the officials when you don't protect yourself. Just because you're in a dangerous place on the ice doesn't make you off limits, and I'm just surprised it was called that way. And it definitely led to a situation where the Maple Leafs and Ducks were trading 4-on-4 and 5-on-3 and 4-on-3, and it just got a little out of whack for a second. Maple Leafs made a mistake in their own end because the game was sent out of its normal state.
And that's all it took, really, for the Ducks to get that momentum, to get a goal. And it was a nice goal by Vetrano, like a perfect pull across and roofed it on his backhand. He's got his 18th goal of the year. Like he's a pretty good goal scorer. The play itself was a broken play. You know, you have Bertuzzi diving from the hash marks, slowly trying to intercept a pass. It was a bit messy. And I think, obviously, with all the... This isn't an excuse. It's just factually, like there was like 4 people changing, coming in and out, 1 penalty ending, 1 penalty expiring. Like the Leafs were not set up to defend at all in that situation, and you know the Ducks capitalize on it, and that's how close this game of margins is here.
Yeah, I mean, I'll circle a guy who was who made a mistake on that play. I mean, Max Domi was feeling that, hey, we got some power play time approaching here, and he tried to blow the zone and got caught up ice there, and that's really the reason why Frank Vatrano had all the room in the world, because one player in the Maple Leafs defensive structure exited it too quickly. So if we're doing the thing where, hey, David Camp gets punished and removed from the lineup, and Nick Robertson doesn't play much and gets removed from the lineup, I don't think it'll extend to Domi. But I do think if we're doing, hey, you got to learn from these mistakes, I guarantee Sheldon Keefe is showing Max Domi that play.
Yes, you would think so. Lots to come in this final 20-minute frame. We will take a quick break, though. On the other side, we'll give you the NHL scoreboard, and we'll tee up the third period. You're listening to Most Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
NHL All-Star Thursday is coming to Toronto with 3 exciting events in one star-filled night. First, celebrity captains select their teams in the Tim Hortons NHL All-Star Player Draft. Then, the 1967 Stanley Cup champion Maple Leafs are honored in the NHL Alumni Man of the Year. And finally, the best in women's hockey compete in the Canadian Tire PWHL 3-on-3 Showcase. It's NHL All-Star Thursday on February 1st. Buy tickets now starting at $44 at NHL.com/Thursday.
Every year, fans debate over the draft. Who's going first? At Chuck's, they already know. The top draft choice is that icy cold 18-ounce Molson Canadian you're holding, and it's just $4 at Chuck's during Leafs games. No wonder that at draft time, Canadians are always in high demand. Chuck's Roadhouse Bar and Grill. Food the way it ought to be. Price the way it used to be.
Think 2 in a truck, 2 in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 in a truck, 2 in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Heron. Experience a new level of luxury at Williamsburg Green. Your new single-family home will have all the modern features you dream about, even a fully finished lower level. Kitchener's newest master plan community with bike trails, parks, and a new library. Williamsburg Green has it all. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like solivigant, peregrinate, nemophilus, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to uncommon winter confidence.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. That's why we've introduced Same Game Parlay Plus. It's a game changer. Making a same game parlay across different games has never been easier because the biggest games and most popular markets are now all in one place. Check out Same Game Parlay Plus and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit connectsontario.ca.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey. On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Maple Leafs Radio Network. Ailish Forfar, Justin Cuthbert, 20 minutes to play. Maple Leafs trail 1-0 to the Anaheim Ducks. Not much else going on in the NHL, but let's take a look. The NHL scoreboard is presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly.
Yep, just one other game in the NHL tonight. The New Jersey Devils doubled up the Washington Capitals, beating them 6-3. 2 goals from 3 players. Nico Hischier, Michael McLeod, Dawson Mercer, all netting a brace tonight. That's a nice, fun scoreline for the Devils. 6-3 winners over the Washington Capitals.
All right, so the Maple Leafs need to put at least one in the net, win this period, maybe force an OT, but I would prefer not since it is already 11:10 p.m. and we've been grinding all night. Who's the Leafs?
That's not the Molson Leafs hockey spirit.
Who's the one on the Leafs that you think might get this game back in?
I think Nylander's been the most dangerous guy for the Leafs. So if it's got to come from someone, it might have to come from William Nylander.
All right.
Again.
It's going to come from Joe Bowen and Jim Ralph next, who have the call of the third period. You're listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan, and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Under review.
And if someone says, well, he's good in the room, you know what? They don't have a good in the room stat in the standings. I've yet to find that category. It's one of the most overplayed things. They better be good in the room. That's the least you better bring when you join a National Hockey League team.
Under review with Mick Kerr, 11 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91, and the Sirius XM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on Sirius XM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
The top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
Join me, Gord Stellick, and Scott Laughlin as we recap the night that was on NHL Morning Skate, weekday mornings at 7 a.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, Sirius XM 91.
The Leafs Radio Network.
Maple Leafs have some work to do, trailing 1-0 to the Anaheim Ducks. As yours truly here with Jim Ralph and Armin Zagarian running the operation. Andrew Holland and Tristan Marchiani is pushing all of the buttons for us as the Leafs need a goal to make sure that they are not shut out.
180 games. Last time the Leafs were shut out at home against the Pittsburgh Penguins. And let's throw this one in here.
All right.
The last time the Leafs were shut out in Anaheim.
Yes.
January 14th, 2015. Freddie Anderson was a goaltender for Anaheim. Not a lot of games out there since. That's when you throw in COVID year. Well, actually, the Leafs were on a California trip just before the big shutdown in March of 2020. They came home from the California trip, beat Tampa 2-1, and then the world shut down for a while.
Yes, it did. Launched down into the Toronto zone. They defend the goal down to our right. Reverse now. A centering pass in front. Oh, and a big save made there by Martin Jones.
Well, that was Austin Matthews. Tried to reverse it up the boards, and it was picked off and thrown right to the front of the net.
Circle that one. Leafs go back after the loose puck. Brody finds Riley. Riley comes up the left wing boards, and it is in across the line for Nyes. Nyes, using his size along the boards, was tripped up there. No penalty, and it's played high to center ice, forcing Benoit back. And now there's going to be a penalty to Benoit.
I know.
It was as egregious at the one end that was not called.
2 minutes for high sticking.
And now they get a high sticking call to Benoit. Second power play for Anaheim coming up.
It looked like a bit of a hold by Adam Henrique. You know, Nyes might have tried to sell it by going down. And then Benoit, this is just careless. Coming back into his own zone in a race for the puck. Gets his stick up into the face of Jones. And Anaheim could put the Leafs in a real tough position here.
44 seconds into the period. Face off to the right of Martin Jones in the Leaf end. And the draw won by Toronto. Grabbed off by Marner. On the backhand, he's going to get it elevated enough to get it out and down the ice. Ducks back in their own end. Drysdale drops it even further. Carried through center and in over the line by Zegras. Dropped off onto the left wing side. Closing, and a shot explodes off a shin pad and goes wide. Drysdale at the right point. Back to the far side to Zegras. Zegras works back to the point. Drysdale still with it. Back into the corner to Zegras. Zegras' pass went off a pad, but it comes around the boards to the near side. Camp trying to free it up. Now 3 Leafs in the corner. No one is in front of the net, but it is played by the Leafs through the defense and Alton down the ice. Zegras will bring it back. Backhands in over the line and around back of the net. Grabbed off by Toronto and launched off a body out into neutral ice once more. Cam Fowler will go back. Played it back in the net, but the Leafs come away with the loose puck. Now trying to work out as Nylander. Still a weak shot towards the net. And it is covered up by Dostal and will be held.
Again, you love this from Willie Nylander. Puts all kinds of pressure on Cam Fowler. And Fowler tries to bank it off the backboards. Ends up hitting the side of the net. Nylander picked it up. Didn't get a great scoring chance out of it, but killed some time. They get a face-off in the Anaheim zone with 48 seconds left in the penalty to Benoit.
You know, I never noticed this. Nylander wears a necklace. Metal type that looks like a silver necklace.
Yeah, I saw that.
You don't see that on hockey players. I mean, baseball players maybe or whatever, but that was well, you get in a little bit of a scrap or whatever. Somebody gives that a good tug, and you never know what might happen. Now here's a pass to the right wing side. A shot is swallowed up by Martin Jones, who came out nicely on Frank Vetrano and took it on the chest and holds.
Well, we've already seen Vetrano score his second shorthanded goal of the season. Got 6 power play goals as well. And Alex Killorn not on the ice right now, but I don't think you have to be a Leaf fan to know where he sets up, which is right in front of the goaltender.
30 seconds left in the power play. David Camp taking the face-off against Adam Henrique. And Henrique won the face-off cleanly. Back to the point. It goes to Fowler. Walks the line. Let a shot go. That was deflected wide of the Leaf goal. Puck on the near boards. Taken to the wall, and the Leafs are able to punch it out. Here's a opportunity for Yarncrook to get it down into the corner. Camp is there. A dozen seconds left in the period, or into the penalty, and it's brought out at center ice now by the Ducks, who get it in over the line, but things start to bog down, and Toronto come away with it as the penalty expires. Mark Giordano getting it back to David Camp, returning the favor. Leafs are trying to get a change going. Pushed ahead for Matthews with Marner in across the line. Got a shot away. And Dostal came across nicely. Took that on the chest and holds for a face-off coming in the Anaheim zone.
I just took a quick glance. Austin Matthews looks to be like a gold chain as well.
I hadn't noticed. Well, I never wear anything, so I wouldn't notice anything.
No, I don't think we could afford the bling of Matthews or
I think the bling's probably gone, yeah. I used to be able to afford it. Now back on the boards. It grabbed by the Leafs. Riley sends a high shot. That was knocked down. There was a loose puck in front. May have gone off the goalpost. The referee waving his arms there as the Ducks get it out into the center ice area. In across the line on the left wing. It goes into the corner on the far side. McGinn trying to center. Works to the far boards. Chopped it around into the near corner. Pinching down is Fowler to try and keep it alive. Leafs have 3 men in there as it comes back to Fowler at the point. Can't shoot it. Gets it returned. Now his wrist shot is just off the mark wide. Matthews getting it up on the wing for Nyes. And Nyes will just get it out at center. Ducks with it once more. Nyes intercepts. Has to wait for Marner to get onside. Marner is tripped up. No call there. And the puck goes back into the Toronto end. Leafs are changing. Marner sends it back before heading to the bench. And Benoit shoots the puck into the zone. Down on the far corner. Played around back of the Ducks goal. Hustling after Bertuzzi. Tried to work it in along the boards. Tavares trying to chip it now for Nylander, who's back of the net. Nylander centered in front of the goal, and Tavares went a little bit too far and couldn't get to it as a rolling puck in the goal crease area. Played back in over the line now by Anaheim. A shot. Rebound in front. Oh, what a chance that was. And the Anaheim Duck player fanned on it completely. And now we get a whistle.
Well, maybe offside. Tavares got a piece of it before it cleared the zone, but 15:28 to go. Leafs have to kill off a penalty first, but the shots on goal total has now grown to 37. for Toronto, 22 for the Ducks. Nylander, a nifty little play from behind the net to get it out to Bertuzzi. His stick was tied up, but the puck squirted to the left of Bertuzzi and just past John Tavares. Tavares, if he would have stayed where he was, might have had a half a net to put the puck into.
18 of the shots the Leafs have registered are off the sticks of Marner, Nylander, and Matthews. 6 apiece. Centering pass goes by everybody and is going to slide all the way back into Anaheim territory. Gregor forces things to the boards, gets some assistance there from Yarncrook, but the Ducks are going to get it out at center and then knocked down on the play, and bowled over there is Giordano, and the linesman decides to call an offside. So it'll be out into the center ice area. 14:54 to go in the period, and the Maple Leafs trail in the game 1-0.
Certainly Anaheim feels they might have some young pieces to go. We mentioned Troy Terry out of the lineup. That's the second game he's missed now. He's actually the highest paid player on Anaheim. Got a 7-year, $49 million deal, so an AAV is 7.
Draw one by the Ducks. Drysdale works it off the left wing and pumps it in. Riley had it bound away. It comes back to the point. Jamie Drysdale with a long shot that is reached the net. And then some pushing and shoving with Brody in there. And
yeah, I like
Max
this.
Jones has got a big grin on his face as he heads away from the scrum.
I like that. See, now even TJ Brody grabs a hold of the collar of Jones's jersey and gives him a shake. No, that's the stuff. Like when we've always talked about toughness, everybody always asks, how are the Leafs going to respond? How are they going to respond? Well,
yeah,
they're going to see how Anaheim's going to respond.
That's right. Instigate and see how they respond.
Even though I don't agree with the 5-minute major to Bobby McMahon that had him tossed from the game, at least. Now you're talking about how did Anaheim respond? The Leafs were the aggressors.
Leafs win the face-off. It's launched high to center ice, trying to spring Nylander, but cut off there by the Ducks. And Anaheim playing up on the wing, get it from the red line and shoot it back into the Toronto zone. Brody rings it around on the far side. Nylander banking it ahead. That was too far for David Camp. It's tipped down into the Ducks' end of the rink, though, and now Drysdale trying to get away from the checking there of Pontus Holmberg. It comes back on the wall, cleared to the line, kept alive. And a whistle from the linesman.
They're calling it a hand pass, but was there... I thought there was a cross-check on the play. McCabe got cross-checked from behind when he was trying to glove the puck down. And he gets called for the glove pass, but the cross-check is that not a cross-check by Jones?
Looks like it to me.
And to get her look at the replay once again. Face-off will come outside the Anaheim line.
Leafs with it now, and it is snapped in by Benoit. Down the boards and into the corner. Matthews couldn't get to it. Shot out and down the ice. The puck's rolling on edge, and Simon Benoit manages to get most of his feet into the quicksand enough to allow an icing call.
So you can see a delay of game penalty being called on an icing, couldn't you? And we always joke that when the shootout first came into the National Hockey League, that Kelly said that Jason Allison might be the first player in NHL history to get a delay of game penalty on a penalty shot because of how slow he would come in.
Well, I'm old enough to remember J.C. Tremblay of the Montreal Canadiens on an icing. My goodness, he slowed up enough. Puck goes to the far boards down in the Leaf end. Liljegren chipping it along, and Nye starts away on the left side, but his drop pass was out of the reach of everyone, and it's chopped right back down into the Toronto end. Morgan Riley has to go back, and now he'll start out. Riley finds Matthews. Matthews to the left wing side, looking for his 30th. Goes around back of the net. Cars it back into the spot for Benoit. Oh, and that deflected off the goaltender Dostal just at the last second. Nye's in the far corner after a loose puck. Played back into the slot area. Trying to center was Marner. Back to the point it goes. McCabe into the middle of the ice. Trying to find an avenue to shoot it. When he did, he got it through, but it wasn't much on it. And Dostal kicked it aside, but the Leafs keeping it in. It comes to the left wing side. Benoit back to McCabe. His shot off a leg went wide. After it again is Nyes doing a nice job on the forecheck here. Nyes unable to find it. He had Matthews hovering around out in front, and it's cleared out at center, and Matthews stepped into his man. Now here's a chance for McGinn. He'll get it down into the Leaf end. Taken to the boards by Benoit efficiently. Marner trying to help out. Steals the puck. Sends it off now, and Bertuzzi is away. Bertuzzi along with Tavares. Shot down into the zone. The goaltender out to play it. Tavares tried to block it. Cleared high off the boards and out into the center ice area. And the Leafs are back there to restore it, and it goes back into the Toronto zone. Riley for Bertuzzi. In around into the slot and a shot. That went wide. Bertuzzi tried to wrap it around. Is tripped up. No penalty. And out come the Ducks again. Bertuzzi intercepts once more to Tavares. He's got Willie. Willie going to the net and a goal! Big save made by Lucas Dostal, his best of the game. And again, it is Nylander who has a glorious chance.
Nylander tried to make the same move that Frank Vatrano made in the second period when he scored for Anaheim. Go back against the grain. But Dostal doesn't bite. Starts to his right and pushes back to his left to take it away.
You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Congratulations to all our subscribers who took home a fantasy football title this year with the expert advice on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I want to thank you guys for making me a better fantasy player.
The winning doesn't stop there. Stick around to dominate DFS hockey and hoops, March Madness, fantasy baseball, and more. The winning never stops on Fantasy Sports Radio.
I won by 5 points thanks to your advice.
I want to help people win more than I want to win myself.
Sirius XM Channel 87 and the Sirius XM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community.
The Leafs have gone
back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
Time the Leafs entered the third period without a goal was just against Carolina on Saturday night. By the way, Lucas Dostal does not have a shutout in the National Hockey League.
Oh.
And this is 39th appearance.
All right. We got Twinson and minor penalties going here.
So the 4-on-4.
What a chance Nylander had. Here the Ducks to the line. Drop it off now for Zegras. Zegras with a shot. That went off a skate. Went wide of the net. Leafs don't get it out. Riley will regroup it. Played around the boards to the near side. And Tavares skates it out into neutral ice. Dropping it back to Morgan Riley. Riley over on the right side for Nylander. With speed, he hits the line. Off on the left wing, Tavares. And he drilled it right into the chest of the goalkeeper. And he's able to hold on. Shot number 40 on the night for the Maple Leafs, 23 for the Anaheim Ducks. And the story has been Lucas Dostal so far. Leafs trailing 1-0.
And that's where, I mean, I've been impressed with the kid. He talked about how many times he's caught the puck standing up, but it seems that he is right on his decision making, whether to butterfly or whether to stand tall. And right there, if he stands up, I think that goes 5-hole.
And that might have been what. Here's a chance now. Marner off a face-off, wrapped around, couldn't get it in front, was dragged down and no penalty. And now here the Ducks, an odd man rush in over the line with a shot. Good play by McCabe to get back as it comes to the side of the goal. Jones covered up on it. Now McTavish gave Jones a little poke, and Liljegren decides that he's going to have a word with McTavish. Is there another penalty coming here or not?
No, I thought I saw the head shake of the referee. Because I think Mason McTavish wanted a penalty as Liljegren got caught up ice. And then actually pretty good communication between Liljegren and Jake McCabe. You see on the way back down in the Leaf zone, Liljegren points to McCabe, you take the puck carrier, I'll take the guy in front of the net. And, well, now it's, still 4-on-4. Obviously from the Bertuzzi penalty earlier. 4-on-4 for another minute 15.
11 minutes and 10 seconds to go in the third period. Maple Leafs need a goal. Duck player was knocked down. McTavish without a helmet. Oh, now he's got his helmet back on and across the line. The Leafs get it freed up for Morgan Riley. He tips it off on the wing. Matthews coming in with a shot. That was stopped. Matthews gets his own rebound back to the blue line. Near side it comes to Riley. Riley walks the line, dropping back for Matthews, closing, and he set a high drive just over top, and a penalty is coming here to the Ducks. Into the slot, a drive by Nylander is stopped. Rebound, Matthews backhand, and again Dostal is there. The Leafs have run into a hot goaltender here, but are going to the power play for the fourth time in the game.
Anaheim 49, 2 minutes for slashing.
No, it's going to be a slash. So for the Leafs, it'll be a 4-on-3 power play. Or just waiting to see the time again. And you wonder, does Sheldon Keefe burn a timeout here? 10:35 to go here in the second period. That was the 43rd shot on goal for the Leafs.
Penalty at 9:25 to Jones for slashing.
Jones has been smiling and pointing all night, but doesn't seem to be enamored with this call.
4-on-3 power play for 40 seconds, and the Leafs win the draw. Nylander at the point to Matthews, doesn't shoot it, holds in the far circle to Willie. Now to Matthews, a drive. That was stopped, but Matthews gets the rebound. Back to Nylander. Nylander to the near side to Marner. Marner settles it. One of the defenders has broken a stick. They're down to just two that can play the puck, and the Leafs have a great opportunity here to the blue line. Nylander holds. Now to Matthews in the slot, a shot. That is stopped and covered up by Dostal.
Well, this is where you really wish, because Dostal, everything he has seen, he's stopping. You would prefer John Tavares to be right in front of the goaltender and take his eyes away, but instead Tavares was off to the side. If you're standing in front, Joe, you're standing with a guy that doesn't have a stick. So if there is even a rebound, you've got the huge advantage.
Draw one by Toronto again. Here's a chance for Marner, and that was blocked. Grabbed off and set out and down the ice. And the penalty will expire, and now it'll be a 5-on-4 opportunity. Brought to the line and in by Nylander, but his pass was knocked out of the air, and it's shot down the ice by Anaheim. Leafs 0 for 11 on the power play. Dropped back now for Matthews. Up on the wing to Marner. Marner drops for Riley. Cross ice, it'll come to Tavares. Tavares for Matthews. Cross ice now to Willie in front of the goal. And Morgan Riley tipped it just wide of the net. Leafs can't come up with it, and it's shot down the ice.
Boy, it has been one of those nights, hasn't it?
Yep. You can't argue with what they're doing. They just haven't been able to beat Dostal. Now here the Leafs into the power play, into the zone again. Marner with a shot, and again Lucas Dostal is down to cover up on it and hold. He's never had a shutout in the National Hockey League. I don't know how many more things we can throw out there.
Well, Boy, Mitch Marner had an opportunity in a one-timer and just whiffed on it. Ducks were able to clear. Oh, Dostal, looking at it again. We thought Morgan Riley tipped it just wide. Dostal, is this guy on or what?
Out with the
He
poke
actually pokes the puck. Tips it away from Morgan Riley.
A shot by Nyes, deflects to the far side. Another shot then by Domi, went wide. And it has gone up into the screen off the dasher board. So Lucas Dostal is certainly earning his keep here tonight. He has been outstanding.
Of course, it's one of those where you think, well, you don't get John Gibson.
Yeah.
Gibson has had some tough spells this season. He's still, by many, considered to be one of the top in the league.
Leafs keep the puck in. Here's Nyes, left wing side. Got a shot. Big traffic jam in front, but it trickled wide of the far post. Just kept in by Toronto. And apparently not. There's the linesman. A little bit of a late call there.
Yeah. Seemed like the Ducks were the ones that made the call.
Leafs have gone to overtime 14 times this year. They're 3-6 in overtime, 4-1 in shootouts. And the Ducks are 4-0 in overtime and shootouts. They've not lost in extra time. But the Leafs need a goal to even think about that. Lots of time left, 8:40 to play. Plot in over the line by Bertuzzi, but he couldn't get to it. And it's poked out into the center ice area, and the power play had 3 shots, but no goals. Down on a bounce into the glove of Dostal, and he will hold for another faceoff coming in the offensive zone. The Leafs are 4 shots away from the 50 mark, but have not scored a goal. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan on the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
From the biggest stadiums to the coziest holes in the wall. From house parties to porch hangs to pride celebrations. From your favorite fuzz shop to your local Indian spot. From noodle bars to sports bars to salsa bars. There's a Molson with your name on it. Canadian Ultra XL. Molson. Everyone in. Must be legal drinking age.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
Take 2 minute truck, 2 minute truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2 minute truck, 2 minute truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 minute truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks. So give us a call today.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs Hockey.
The cross in front, they score!
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
Another great note from our boy Armin, and there have only been 12 50-shot shutouts in NHL history. And the Leafs are 4 shots away from hitting the half-century mark.
Now they're going to probably need at least that. Now, one thing, I think that we've seen some dangerous chances with traffic in front.
Here's Giordano with a shot. Traffic in front, but it deflected into the corner. Tavares comes out of the corner. Tavares works back towards the blue line. Still with it. Sent a high shot that went off the stick of McTavish and up into the screen out of play. And they'll face it off again in the offensive zone. And John Tavares got a little blood coming from his nose as a result of a collision.
So right now the difference in this game is kind of a bizarre short-handed goal. There.
Now they've
Anaheim
adjusted the shots. They've just lost one. Here the Ducks back in over the line. Drysdale rolled it to the front of the goal. Covered up quickly, though, by Jones. And a face-off in the Toronto zone with 8:02 left to play.
What happened was the teams were playing 4-on-4, and the Leafs got a man back on the ice, but not into the play before Anaheim scored. So it goes down as a shorthanded goal. But like we said, not in the traditional sense.
8:02 to play. Leafs in San Jose on Saturday night. It'll be a regular 7 o'clock Eastern time start. Folks out in California have to go to the game a little early. Here's Marner bringing it out, or at least Gregor bringing it out in over the line on the right side. Got a shot away, and that was stopped by Dostal. Puck in along the end boards. Back of the net for David Kampf. Kampf curls out of the corner. Kampf still with it. Slid it back around behind the net. Holmgren coming out. Got it back to the point. Shot in traffic. Deflects wide off the stick of Benoit. Played to the line. Benoit pinching. Kept alive by Toronto. Near side. Benoit with a pass in front. Off the pad of Dostal and went wide. Leafs are at it again. Another shot taken there by Gregor. Deflected. Down goes Kampf. Penalty possibly coming here, and it will. Leafs are going to the power play again. Benoit walking the line. Plays it along the boards. Back it comes into the slot for Nylander, who's the extra man. Nylander down into the corner. Still with it. Tries to center. That went off a stick. And we're going to get a penalty here to the Ducks. The Leafs have just been pouring the pressure on. And now it is Drysdale going to the penalty box.
2 minutes for cross-checking.
I don't know if I think this is the most vicious of plays. Drysdale doesn't like it. Looked like there was a little bit of contact, but David Kampf may have gone down just a little easy. There was 7:05 to go, 47 shots, and nothing to show for it. The Leafs try to get this game even.
12:55, the time of the penalty. The Leafs have gone 0 for 12 on the power play. Dating back 4 games now. The draw scrummed, but won by Toronto. Nylander holds, got a shot away. Big rebound! Chipped wide by Tavares. Goaltender back into the crease. Here's Riley in the near half board. Still with it. Back to the point. Nylander fans on a pass. Got it off to Matthews. Now to Marner, and a shot deflects over top of the goal. Riley to the loose puck. Riley trying to settle it down. Gets it to Marner. Marner works back to Nylander. Nylander with a pass to the far side. Bounced over Matthews' stick, but he's able to recover it. Marner at the blue line. Walks to the middle. Dishes it back. Nylander closes to Matthews, a one-timer. Down is Dostal, and he made the save. Puck comes up on the wing, and it's shot down the ice. Jones playing it ahead, and quickly the Leafs back in over the line. Tavares can't get a shot away, and it's stolen again and shot down the ice by Anaheim.
Well, that was a great defensive play. Lifting the stick of Tavares as the Leafs had a chance when Anaheim got caught on a bad change.
Matthews to the line and in. On the wing for Tavares. Matthews swings it around the boards. Nylander's going to get there to chop it back around. It goes to Marner. Centering pass. That was knocked. Matthews to Nylander, a shot. And that was off the mark wide. Kept in by Riley. Now to Marner. Into the slot. Nylander. Now to Riley. His shot. Scores! Tavares in front of the goal. Holy mackerel. The Leafs have tied the game on their 50th shot on goal.
Mixed emotions on feeling like it was never going to come or it was about time. And John Tavares in front. The initial shot by Riley hits the goalpost. But Tavares is right in front of Dostal, turns, finds the rebound, and snaps it. In fact, Tavares may have gotten a piece, of the original shot that hit the post show. And I mean, he's got magnificent hand-eye coordination. Do you not agree that he's so much more dangerous? There, he's got some tissue in his nose. Leafs still have some work to do. 5:36 to go, tied at 1.
12th goal of the season for Tavares, his 4th on the power play, and it ends a streak of 0 for 12. And an icing call coming against the Maple Leafs. And
I do believe the chants against the refs are flying now. And I mean, I do agree with it. Wow, we just saw.
I don't really think we needed to see that. All of that packing coming out of his nose was not a pretty sight on the pitch. Could have edited that, possibly. I feel better. I'm breathing better, too, I could think.
Might be able to get a new sponsor.
Leafs bring it down the left wing side, and down into the zone goes Gregor. Puck in the back of the net area. Behind the goal, Gregor trying to work his way out, and he couldn't get a backhand to work as it comes to the blue line. Benoit kept it in momentarily, and the Ducks' Vetrano gets it out at center ice. Leafs with it again. But it has been a very dominant, very workmanlike, and just patient Maple Leaf team that gets the goal to tie the game here on their 50th shot on goal. Brought into the Leaf zone. Poked out at center ice for Nyes. Nyes down the left wing, boards it in. Tripped up there by Zegras. They don't make a call there, and that one might have been more egregious than any of the others. Now here's Nyes trying to come out in front of the goal. Still with it. And batted by the Ducks and getting out at center ice. Riley and Nylander the assists on the goal that ties the game at 1. Here's Morgan Riley sifting through center, sends a long bouncing shot into the zone, tipped into the corner by the goalkeeper Dostrel, and it's set off on the far wing now, and here are the Ducks getting it out and down to the Leaf blue line. A bit of a 2-on-1 developing with a shot, but it went wide of the goal, and the rebound is caromed all the way out at center ice.
I think that hit the linesman skate right at the Leaf blue line and bounced to the middle of the ice.
Brought into the zone and a long shot. That kind of handcuffed Martin Jones, but he was able to find it, and there was certainly time for him to locate it down between his legs, and he pounced down on it to cover up. Tavares from Riley and Nylander on the 50th shot on goal for the Maple Leafs. Ties it at 1. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590, The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
What it is. Connect with the R&B and hip-hop that's hot now. Slamming you out, slamming you out. Discover who's next. And stay up on the culture.
Cause Drake don't know how to kiss and not tell.
On the heat.
Girl, your BD is a 0. My back shot sound like bongo.
Channel 46 and on the SiriusXM app. Included in all trials and popular.
What's up, Leafs fans? Another awesome night here on TSI. Thank you to each and every one of you for hanging out with us. Please don't forget to hit that like button, as it helps bring more Leafs fans into the chat. The more the better. A big shout out to our insiders and VIP members. Your support is truly appreciated. I cannot explain to you what it means for this community. Please consider joining our community. It's only 99 cents a month. I made it as low as possible so that we can get more and more people joining our community. Awesome member exclusive emojis in the chat during these Leafs games, and add your name to the scroll down below. Anyways, enough of the necessary evils to keep growing this amazing Toronto sports community and Maple Leafs community. Back to Leafs hockey. Go Leafs go. I'll see you guys in the chat. Peace.
He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points with Boomer Gordon.
1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio,
SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
Hi, this is Ray Hudson, and for all the biggest matches from club soccer's Holy Grail, the UEFA Champions League, tune in to SiriusXM FC 157.
Willie Nylander with his 51st point, getting the assist along with Morgan Riley on the John Tavares goal that ties the game. Bertuzzi coming away at center. Drops it off now for Nylander. Into the slot, and unable to get to it in time was Liljegren as it's pushed out at center ice. Right back to Liljegren, who wraps it back in over the blue line. Ducks organizing. Drysdale goes D to D and gets a return pass. Comes to the red line, launches it high, well wide of the Leaf goal. Benoit getting it up on the wing for the Maple Leafs, and now Tavares looks to make a pass, and he did, but it was out of the reach. I believe that was Benoit breaking but he thought better of leaving and not staying home for a defensive responsibility. Now he slows up Zegras' attempt to get into the zone, and now Benoit starts up ice on the left wing. Got to the line and rolled it in. 2:55 to go in the third period, and this game now tied 1-1. The Ducks bring it right back. Backhanding it high into the far corner. McCabe around back of the net. Up on the wing for Marner. Quickly got it ahead for Nyes. Nyes in across the line. Stood up. Got it to Marner. Marner to Matthews. He got a one-timer away there that went off the glove of Dostal but went wide. Good setup there by Marner. Down the boards, Riley can't keep it in. Played to center ice. Played back then by Brody. Brought to the line and shot into the zone. Brought on now. Here's a chance for Max Jones, but he was cut off at the area in front of the net. The Leafs have sent the puck down the ice, but it's right on goal. Dostal had to make a save, and almost a centering effort there by Camp to set up Yarncrook. Now Camp comes out of the corner with the puck. David Camp back to the blue line to Benoit. Benoit can't shoot it at the net, sends it around back of the net, cut off on the far side, and now the Ducks will get it out into neutral ice. Sam Carrick playing it in over the line. Long shot goes off a stick, up into the screen. 1:45 left to play here in the third period, and this game is tied at 1.
Well, not for the lack of trying, but Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner come into this game pointless in their previous two. You start looking at what they've done in this game. Even I thought yesterday, Joe, the very first shift against the LA Kings, Matthews and Marner and Matthew Nyes came out with a great shift to set the tone for that game.
Well, Marner's had 13 attempts at goal, including 7 shots on goal. Matthews is 18 attempts, including 11 shots on goal. Here's Bertuzzi coming to center. Works in over the line onto the right side. Nylander, his shot is deflected wide of the net by Dostal. That's shot number 53, and for Willie Nylander, that's his 8th shot on goal. So it certainly now a blown tire allows the Ducks to get it in over the line as Nylander was on his way out of the zone, but then lost an edge. The Leafs, no problems. They get it ahead. Tavares launches it high into the left wing corner. Unable to get there in time with Liljegren, who was down low and now has to hustle back. Backhanded down into the Toronto end. Ducks going for a change with a minute left to go in the third. Pass ahead to the center ice area for Marner. Marner in across the line, weaves to the right wing side, dropping it back to the point. Off on the wing for a shot, rebound in front of the goal. Matthews couldn't get it on the backhand to get it away as Riley got the shot on. Now brought back 2-on-2. Closely back-checking, though, is Yarncrook. And now the Leafs come away with the loose puck in their own zone. Marner taking it to safety back of the goal. Got it up on the wing, dropped back to him, and Marner will start out as the Leafs are changing. Marner dropping it even further back in his own zone to McCabe as the Leafs complete their change. 20 seconds left to go in the third. Leafs to center. Off the stick of McCabe and down into the Duck zone. Round back of the net. Pounced on and played out at center ice, just out of the reach of its intended receiver. 8 seconds left, though, and the Ducks are into the zone. They go down around back of the net, trying to center. Knocked back of the goal, and time will run out.
I don't think I've ever seen a game where both teams were thrilled to get it to overtime. Anaheim outshot 55-26 in regulation, but it took a late power play goal by John Tavares to tie this game up. And can we assume that with the way Matthews and Marner have played, and like we said, pointless in the 2 games coming in, that they might be due the Leafs in overtime? Anaheim's never lost in overtime. This is only their 5th game this season that has gone to extra time. They're 4-0.
And the Leafs outshooting them 22-8 in the third period. Back with the overtime. You're listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan, Maple Leafs Radio Network.
Truck.ca. 2minutetruck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think 2minutetruck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2minutetruck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks, so give us a call today.
There are many peculiar words in the English language. Words like salivigant, peregrinate, nemophilist, peripatetic, and conviviality. Yet, there is no word for getting the most out of winter in your Subaru, thanks to symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and X-Mode. Until now. We call it unhibernate. As in, while your neighbors stay home, you'll be unhibernating all winter in your Subaru. So peregrinate to your local Subaru dealer today, and welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
You're listening to Toronto Maple Leafs hockey.
What a brilliant move by Willie Nylander, and we have a tie game.
On Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network.
We go to overtime. John Tavares' goal at 14-17 on the power play tied the game at 1.
Game on the road since the comeback in Tampa.
So, Leafs to the left, Ducks to the right. 3-on-3, and the Ducks are back in their own zone to organize. Turning back and around now with it is McTavish. He comes out at center, mishandled the puck a little bit, but got it ahead. Petrano couldn't get in over the line. And now here is McTavish trying to work in on the right side against Marner. Marner mirrors him as it comes back. Petrano with a shot. That went off the mark wide. Played up on the far boards. Matthews can't get to it. Kept in at the point now. Cam Fowler with a drive and taking that on the chest.
Is that not goalie interference?
Sure looked like it because Jones got bowled over and he's complaining.
Well, I mean, I think you got a pretty good Frank Petrano. Even though Petrano jumps to get out of the way, he lands almost on top of Martin Jones.
Now,
and his hip makes contact
if the puck
with
went
the head.
into the net, would that not be goaltender interference?
Let's say call it coincidental contact.
So the face-off in the Toronto zone. And lost in all of this has been a really good performance again from Martin Jones.
Yeah, 27 of 28.
Perfect last night on 31 shots. Yarncrook lost the draw. It rolls all the way to center. Nylander gave it a chase and now is going to be able to secure it and take it back into his own zone. Liljegren to his countryman. Nylander starts out. He's got Yarncrook with him. So the three Swedes are in across the line. Yarncrook driving the net, going right in front of the goal. Took a shot, and it went off the stick of Dostal and went wide. Played up on the wing. Nylander keeping it in. You're going to play it back to the goaltender.
I had a guy do that to me.
What happened?
Once.
So
never did it again.
Never did it again. Here are the Leafs through center. On the wing to Marner with Matthews. Marner with a little move. Couldn't get a shot away. Works it back to the blue line to Morgan Riley. Riley back to Marner. Looking for Matthews who takes the pass. He and Marner exchanged positions. Now Matthews driving the net with a shot. That was stopped and he goes to his own rebound. Trying to get it back to the net for Marner but failing to. But it'll come all the way out at center and Riley will go back. We'll see if they stay on. Looks like they are. Riley in on the left wing. Riley into the corner. Riley pulls up. Looks for a man. Finds Matthews. Matthews gave the puck back to Riley. Riley to Marner. Closing in. Down low. Shot scores! Austin Matthews with the game winner! In overtime! His first game-winning goal of the season. And the Leafs come back to win this one 2-1. Holy Mackinac, what a performance!
With all they've done tonight, they finally get rewarded 3-on-3. They were both on the ice for the power play goal by John Tavares. Did not get a point, but a great give and go between Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews ends with the Leafs winning their second game in 2 nights in California. Morgan Riley flips it back to Mitch Marner. Austin Matthews goes to the net, and Marner from the high slot throws it down to Matthews, and in one motion, number 34 rifles it short side high to give the Leafs the 2-1 win.
First game-winning goal of the 30 that he has scored this season. And Austin Matthews wins the game for the Maple Leafs. It comes at 2 minutes and 12 seconds of overtime this season. And the Maple Leafs overtime record now is 4-6. 3 stars brought to you by our great friends at Molson.
Now you can give me, I guess, a little bit of help on this.
I'll go with Dostal number 1.
I was going to start at 3.
Okay, well, I
let's
gave
go.
you help. You only need 2 more.
We'll go John Tavares, number 3. Austin Matthews, number 2. Obviously, the 2 goal scorers to tie it up and then win it in overtime. Fine. You can have the guy that lost the game.
So, you know what? There wasn't an awful lot of thought put into that.
He was 2 goal scorers. But that is the best goaltending performance I've seen the Leafs encounter in a long time.
And it was the patience. They showed a lot of patience. Got the goal finally.
Yep.
And then, of course, the big boys, Tavares and Matthews, end up providing the margin of victory. Well, lots to talk about in the post-game show as Ailish Forfire and Justin Cuthbert will bring you along as the Maple Leafs have beaten the Anaheim Ducks 2-1. Please join us Saturday night when this road trip continues in San Jose, 7 o'clock, right here on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the rest of the Leaf Radio Network. Until then, you've been listening to Molson Leaf Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Maple Leafs Radio Network.
You've been listening to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590 The Fan and the Leafs Radio Network. There's a Molson with your name on it.
It's Week 18 in the NFL. Playoff spots are on the line, and there's only one place for all the action.
Touchdown! Josh Allen, the beast, has been released!
And that's the Sunday Drive. This is Bill Eckes. Join Steve Torrey and me at noon Eastern for live listen-ins, guests, playoff implications, and coaching news around the NFL.
You know, it's a playoff atmosphere, a really good team.
Spend Week 18 with the Sunday Drive at noon Eastern on NFL Radio Channel 88 and on the SiriusXM app.
The best player analysts and insiders live on NHL Network Radio. Mike Johnson.
5-on-5 defensive game for Tampa is getting to the point, Gord, where it is a concern. And it's not just because Vasilevsky hasn't played the entire season. They're giving up almost 4 goals a game. No matter how good your offense is, that's not going to be able to be sustainable.
Get the latest opinion and analysis you need on the home of hockey, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. The Power Play with Steve Koulias.
Not only is Sidney Crosby one of the greatest, probably top 5 NHL players of all time, and there's some non-hockey people in Pittsburgh that don't want to hear this, he's as good and as important as anyone who's ever played for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Whether you want to understand that or not, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
The Power Play, weekdays 3 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app. 24/7 hockey talk.
One of the greatest goaltenders of all time, Patrick Waugh. When you put your hands up, did you know at that moment that you were done?
No, I did not. Unfortunately, it happened. Just gave me a chance to have a fresh start somewhere else and be traded to Colorado was a good opportunity. Sometimes you need that little, change, and it was welcome for me.
SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and on your schedule with the SiriusXM app. The Point with Boomer Gordon.
18 months ago, I had New Flyers head coach John Tortorella. And I asked him what he was worried about the club, and he said, I don't like the room. We have a bad room. And I'm like, you haven't even coached this team yet. A year and a half later, John Tortorella loves his room. He loves this team, and he loves that they compete every night.
Points with Boomer Gordon. 1 p.m. Eastern on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, and the SiriusXM app.
If you're a soccer fan, you know that this music means one thing. The Champions League is on SiriusXM FC.
Hat-trick for Erling Haaland. Kane scores!
the top teams from around Europe are battling for club soccer's holy grail.
Real Madrid do what they do best. What a start for Inter.
Hear all the top Champions League matches all tournament long on Sirius XM FC 157 and streaming on the Sirius XM app.
The best hockey lives here.
Martins gets it back. Stick handles to the backhand. Moves in front. Score!
NHL play-by-play on Sirius XM.
Riley to Marner, closing in. Down low, shot scores! Austin Matthews with the game winner! In overtime! His first game-winning goal of the season! And the Leafs come back to win this one 2-1. Holy mackerel, what a performance!
Welcome back to Molson Leafs Hockey on Sportsnet 590, the fan of the Maple Leafs Radio Network. That's it. Leafs 2-1 in overtime. As the clock struck midnight like Cinderella, they got it done. We got lots to go through, and we will on Leafs Talk. But let's take a quick look around the NHL scoreboard. Presented by Bet365. Visit the app for the latest odds and find out why it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 19 plus, Ontario only. Play responsibly.
Still just one other game in the NHL tonight, and it is a final, and it's been final. The New Jersey Devils doubled up the Washington Capitals 6-3. 2 goals for Nico Hischier, Michael McLeod, and Dawson Mercer. And we know the P-Dub, Boston falling 3-2 to Minnesota.
All right, we got lots to go through. We are going to bring in our guy, Sam McKee. So let's get ready for Leafs Talk. All right, Eilish Forfar, Justin Cuthbert, and Sammy McKee joining us for Leafs Talk Maple Leafs with a 2-1 overtime thriller. Poor Lucas Dostal, but he gets a record night for the Anaheim Ducks and unfortunately gets the L. Sammy, we just talked for about 7 hours straight, so we're just going to let you take it, bud. How's it going?
Good. I feel like these late nights are weird. Really weird game tonight. It's just a very, very little extra music coming in.
It's
here.
a remix.
I do feel like that music bringing me in. I feel like I need to be far more intense than I feel right now. Like I feel like I have to. I don't know what I have to bring, but yeah, a deserving result for the Leafs. Feel for that kid Dostal. I'll rain on his parade a little
Dostal.
bit. Whatever is it? What's his name? Dostal, whatever it is. Whatever. Like they hit him in the chest 40 times tonight. Like sure he made, what did he have, 55 saves at the end of them? I'd say he had 10 really good ones, including a couple on Austin Matthews, but they were really, really, he had a quick chest tonight, as we like to say, and I thought they nailed him in the chest a lot. But yeah, good on him. Made a good performance, but I think the deserving team won.
Definitely. Definitely the deserving team won. I will say, I mean, if we were nitpicking, like just the response to, I guess you want to call it adversity in the second period. Like that game was being controlled by the Maple Leafs, and we saw game score or score effects rather just sort of take over in the third period there while the Maple Leafs were smelling blood. But like that game shouldn't have been as interesting, but the Maple Leafs make one mistake, a goaltender starts to feel it, and the Maple Leafs just make a habit of that, right? Where something weird just happens, a goaltender who should never have a performance like that suddenly has one against the Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs are like magnets towards that kind of storyline, but it just seemed like they allowed the other team to grow in confidence in the game until they just snapped their fingers and that was the end of it. So I guess if we're quibbling a bit, yeah, you could talk about 40 pucks hitting the logo on Dostal. But again, this was a game that should never have been that close. But you let the foot off the gas for 5 minutes, and suddenly an inferior team feels like they can compete with you.
Yeah, and I will say the goal that they gave up, was it Vetrano that scored it, was a total breakdown by everybody involved. Like everybody's cheating up the ice, look a little ASHL action where everybody's heading north before they know where the puck is, and all of a sudden you have a 2-1-0, Vetrano comes in, goes backhand, Tyler Bertuzzi crashes into the goalie and makes him bend weird. It was really not a pretty sight. So it wasn't the nicest goal for them to get in terms of a breakdown from the Leafs, but outside of that, I don't know. The Ducks feel like they barely had the puck. I think, it's a work in progress. Let's just say that for that team. I don't think they're going to be anytime soon coming out of this. I think they got some nice pieces there. But, man, they just, I don't know. They felt like they were in a different class than the Leafs. And, it's nice to see the Leafs get this victory because, they start Jones in the second half of the back-to-back, which some people didn't want to see. A lot of people wanted to go with the Hilda Beast tonight. Martin Jones plays well. They scratch Robertson for Pontus Holmberg, and you get the result. So the coach looks smart, but I think there's a couple, controversial calls before it. But yeah, I'd say a 10 out of 10 dominant victory for the Leafs outside of one breakdown.
All right, we already gave our thoughts on the Bobby McMahon 5-minute major game misconduct hit, which did actually change a lot of the projection of how that game was going. Leafs were all over him. Then this happens, and they get an opportunity to claw their way back, of course. I'll just give it to you, Sam. What'd you make of that hit and that penalty call? I think my favorite game that I love and grew up is slipping away from me. That's how I feel. Is that a little too dark for 12:05? A little sad, but this is Leafs talk after dark. Well, I don't know. The question I have, and I tweeted this out, and I'll ask you two guys. I'm not sure what Bobby McMahon is supposed to do on that play because it's contact sport. He's not charging him. He's shoulder to shoulder with him. The guy he's pursuing, when he goes to engage, he has the puck. He's ready. He's in a good position. And the guy that he goes to hit just turns ever so slightly, and it doesn't take much. It's an incredibly fast game. And he goes crashing into the boards. The three blind mice go over and they have they look at this. And this is the problem with these reviews, guys. It happened the same way in the World Junior game when they're playing against Sweden, where they took a 5-minute major off because they sit there and they spend 10 minutes watching this from every angle. And they slow it down, and they're sitting there talking about it. They're convincing themselves it's worse than it is. These reviews, I don't know who said it first or where. I don't know who to give credit for. You have one or two real-time looks at these things, and then it's done. You can't be sitting there spending all this time on it because you're going to convince yourself it's worse than it is. That was a fine play. If you want to say 2 minutes for boarding, sure, I'll hear it. But at some point, these younger guys coming up, they got to expect to be hit. Nobody expects to be hit anymore. He's in a good position to hit him, hits him. He hits the boards. It's a loud play. He's cut. I understand it, but it's just a bad call by the refs. And for them to give him a 5 in a game in the second half of back-to-back, they have to play guys more ice time because they're missing a player. I thought it was bogus. I was actually pretty triggered. I don't really get too triggered these days, but that one really, really upset me.
Yeah, in a sport where there's it features body contact, there's going to be an injury every now and then. There's going to be a busted up cheek every now and then, especially when guys are not protecting themselves. And Mintyukov did not protect himself on that play. And unfortunately, you're defending him and punishing, the end result and someone else's negligence just in protecting their own selves. And I think what's most annoying, and I get there was supplemental discipline on this, but this is a week where Nick Cousins takes a run at a player who's on his knees facing the boards and slams his head into the boards. And a player gets caught on a hot mic admitting that they're going to slash a guy in the face. And again, there were supplemental discipline. Nick Cousins got dealt with himself. But there are things that go beyond the pale. This didn't. This was a hockey play. This was a player who needs to be able to do this. And Bobby McMahon needs to be able to throw hits around and be physical in order to be effective, being punished because someone else wasn't ready for the play. And for that reason, we're kind of blurring the lines here on what is a hockey play and what's not, and deciphering which one, which has is getting punished to a greater extent is now less clear.
No, you're bang on. It's really well said, Justin. And it's just either you can't have it both ways here, where you encourage, and one of the great things about hockey and about the sport is the violence and the unpredictability of the ever lurking presence of a big time violent play that can be a flashpoint moment in a game where everybody gets super fired up. But you can't have it both ways where you're that one where he was in a legal position to be hit, that one's 5 in a game, but the other one, either there's hitting or there's not. And I understand when guys get buried into the boards from behind, it's a dangerous play. I get it. There's dangerous plays. It's pretty easy to me to decipher what is and what isn't. And this is just, I don't know. Torts was right at the start of the year when he's talking about, and I hate admitting that because Torts is not my favorite guy, but it is turning into a no-hit league. I don't necessarily recognize a lot of what happens. And it's just frustrating. Feel for Bobby McMahon, who is trying to kind of fill that role. And Ailish and I talked about this last night, where you can kind of see it over the past 2 or 3 weeks where he's really making a concerted effort to be more physical. And I don't think that's something that comes naturally to him. And I respect the guy for kind of giving it more. And this is just something where he's going to be a little bit gun shy now, where he's like, oh crap, like I really buried that guy into the boards, got kicked out of the game. I put my team on a 5-minute power play and I'm a fourth liner. They're going to be pissed off at me. Like, you don't want to discourage a guy who's trying to be physical with making a bogus call. Like, it's a 2-minute boarding at most. They got it wrong. No surprise. I think that I don't really ever talk about the officiating, but I thought the last 2 nights, the officiating's been really bad. The Leafs got a couple gimmies tonight that were not power plays. And, they called out on a 5-minute major. Haven't loved the officiating in the past couple games, guys.
Yeah, I feel like we've had, over the last couple months, more conversations about these hits that are, clean, but the player receiving the hit has been kind of the one at fault. And I wonder, like, this is maybe something you guys on Kipper and Bourne talk about, or anyone that, like, has kids growing up right now playing minor hockey. Like, are they being taught the same way that, we were, how to receive hits, how to put yourself in a position to not get rocked from behind? Like, I remember when I was playing boys hockey, we did like hitting, like, practices where you would go through a line and you would take and receive hits, and how to hit, like, to give a hit while you're receiving one. Like, we actually, and I hated it because I was the only girl, but I would get, but you needed to take those practices, and you need to take those lessons, because the game gets faster. People get more faster and stronger. And if you're not, like, trained to know exactly how to protect yourself, stuff like that happens. We're seeing it, like, weekly now. So I do wonder if that's just been a practice that's been lost in minor hockey training, or now because the game is very skilled and very fast, that they're not focusing as much on, being a grinder. Like, you don't have to be a guy in front of the net getting slashed in the back of the ankles. I think everybody needs to know how to protect their body, even in the women's game now. Like, we talked about this last night, Sam, how physical that is. Like,
oh yeah.
Yeah, like, it's just about knowing how to give and receive those hits in a proper way. Like, that was a perfect example of a hit that was clean. And it was probably a little bit of a dangerous location from the boards. But if he had received it properly, we wouldn't be having this conversation. So I wonder if that's just something that needs to change back in the youth roots.
We were talking about this about like 6 weeks ago. I think it was a Pittsburgh game where
Something
Ryan
happened.
Reeves hit someone from behind, was called. It wasn't a major by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a 2-minute minor that did cost them, I think.
Boston? It was Boston.
Maybe it was Boston. Yeah, I'm remembering black and gold. And it's the player just, like, basically, instead of bracing for a hit, pressed his stomach and chest up against the glass. And that's not the way to take a hit. That's a way to only expose your back, so you're going to deter the player from hitting you. You're right. Like, Torts, that's what Torts was alluding to. It's players are trying to get out of the way. And even if Mintyukov was like, I'm trying to avoid the hit by turning a little bit, or maybe I can spin off this check, that puts yourself in a danger. You might have got blown up if he didn't do it. It probably would have. But he put himself in that position to get blown up. And sometimes in hockey, you get blown up when you put yourself in a position, but you can make it worse on yourself every time. And maybe it's worth the gamble, though, because if you do that and you don't get hurt, you can draw a penalty. And if we're doing that, if we're doing the suck you into penalties because the players are putting themselves in dangerous situations, well, then that is drifting away from what you mentioned, Sam, the game you love and all that stuff. Like, that's not what we grew up attracted to the sport, where you're trying to suck players in to bad penalties because you're not willing to take a hit.
Yeah, I'm a little bit sour after that one. I don't know. I love big hits, and it just feels like all these they're just so few and far between now, that there's such flashpoint moments that the refs feel like they have to call something, or there has to be a big fight. Like, I guess Bobby McMahon has to fight after that. I guess it's a big moment. Like, he fights Lyubushkin. I get that there's a fight after that one, but it just feels like all these hits, there's nothing for days. And then one big one happens and everyone's like, oh my God, we got to do something. The refs are like, we have to do something. And it's just, the game has changed, guys. The game has changed.
All right, let's talk about something positive.
Well, I was going to say, like, they got to teach the kids how to do Michigans now, as opposed to receiving a check. There's my old man on a cloud, or whatever he's.
That Zegras was invisible tonight, though.
Yes, he was.
All right, Austin Matthews, 20 shot attempts tonight, gets the OT winner, his first game winner of the entire season. Thanks to Joe Bowen for that stat, because I did not know that coming in. And clearly, that one meant a lot to the team. You needed to get out of that game with a win. But Austin Matthews now with 30th goal of the season, the first one in the NHL to get to that mark. Obviously, the guy with the heart and soul of this team thus far. But he was buzzing. He wanted to put the puck in the net big time. Good to see him get that moment.
Loved it. I I'm kind of floating around. I talked about this before Christmas, but I'm still not giving up on my 50 and 50. For
I
Matthews.
knew you were going there. Yeah.
I'm still not giving up. I'm not admitting defeat yet because the Leafs have 2 games coming up here against the San Jose Sharks, who I think, if I'm correct, have lost 9 in a row.
They have, correct, yes.
And I think they go in tomorrow night against the Winnipeg Jets. So that's probably not going to be a win, or maybe it is. I don't know. But they got 2 games in a row here. If Matthews can get 4 goals over the next 2 games, we're right back in action for 50 and 50. Like, it just feels inevitable every game. Like, I don't, it's obviously I don't remember anyone in the Leafs like this, but like this is OV levels, OV prime levels of like goal scoring expectations. You go into the game expecting Matthews to score at least 1 goal. And tonight, like you said, he had, 20 shot attempts? I think his 12th hit the net and go in. He could have easily had 4 tonight. Like, there's a real chance here because I think against the Kings, he had how many shots, how many attempts did he have? He was so good against them too. Like, one of these nights, he's going to get 3 or 4, and he's going to get right back on pace for 50 and 50. So I'm not admitting defeat yet on it, guys.
That's the OT winner too. Is I don't know if we can patent it yet, but it's a different way that he releases the puck there, where he flips his stick wide open, the blade wide open. And it's definitely unconventional. Like, maybe it definitely gets the puck up quickly, and I guess you could do it in that spot because you don't risk soaring it over the net. But Matthews is obviously one of the best goal scorers on the planet, maybe the best right now in the NHL. But there's a little bit of ingenuity there too, and a way that he scores, or another example of how he scores that other people don't score, or in a way that other people cannot score, is that right there. Like, that is, I think we shouldn't sleep on the finish there. And that's one of the things that Matthews does that others just can't.
And there was a stretch of games, I don't know if it was last year, all these seasons, I think it was in his 60-goal year, where he was getting a lot of like tips, and he was getting a lot of them from right in front of the net. And he just, he's changed. I mean, obviously the wrister is clearly the calling card. And if he gets the wrister in the sweet spot, there's a good chance that it's going in. But you're right. The way he's changed his ability and made adjustments and like clearly done a lot of work on his game. It's just, he is really, really a treat to watch. And it's nice that he's here for 4 more seasons after this. And I know his offense is incredible, but God, he's so responsible and so good defensively. Like, there's just so many times where he's, I like to, he's like a box-to-box midfielder in soccer where he's below his own goal line. And on the same shift, he's below the other team's goal line. Like, he covers so much ice every game. It's really, really remarkable to watch. It's a treat. Like, it's beyond any Leaf fan's wildest dreams to have a guy that's this good play for the Leafs. Like, we never imagined that would happen in a million years. At least I didn't. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a beaten down Leaf fan, but it's pretty remarkable to see how good he's going here. And I'm keeping the 50 and 50 watch going, guys.
Yeah, this feels a lot more like it felt 2 years ago when he was unstoppable, Hart Trophy and all that. Like, it was, something was off last year. We know it, and I guess injuries and rehabilitations and off-season news and all that sort of alluded to it, but he looks like that guy that you expected him to be all of last year, this year. And, I thought he only finished with 3 shots last night. I thought last night, one of his best periods of the year in the first period. I thought he was brilliant, and good to see him rewarded with the goal of tonight, because when it turned and when it was like, oh, the Leafs are just not going to be denied here, or they might be denied. It just might take 60 saves from a guy that no one's heard of until tonight. It was definitely Austin Matthews who was leading the charge there.
Yeah, I didn't even know the guy's name until and it was after the game. I still didn't know his name. So that's probably not a good sign. Or maybe I'm just tired. I don't know, guys. Yeah. How about our boy, Benny the Butcher, Simon Benoit, with a wide open wrister in the slot against his former team, and he bashes one off the side of the net. Did you guys see that? I thought,
buddy, I bet him for anytime goal scorer during the pregame show.
What did that pay? 40-1?
20-1. But I was like, this is the revenge game, Benny the Butcher. But then Justin ridiculed me, and then he actually had a lot of
Yeah,
like
I
he had a lot
gotta
of
get
chances
the
tonight.
stat line quickly here. 'Cause he
I'm
was shooting
loving
the puck
Benny the
tonight.
Butcher. Like last night, we were like pumping his tires. He had a great game. We talked a lot about Benny the Butcher and Bertuzzi, and then again today, like he's buzzing. He's buzzing. But yeah, that was a fluke. Yeah,
Matthews hit him with a pass right between the hash marks, and he had it. And I thought, I was like, no way is this about to happen. And he banged it off the side of the.
Yeah, I wouldn't say he's a prolific goal scorer, unfortunately.
I don't think they'll write the Simone Benoit story about his hands in front of the net.
No.
So only 4.
Oh, he got the belt tonight. I
Did
just
he?
opened Twitter.
What did he get the belt for?
Benny
Money
the
on the board?
belt. Benny the belt.
I'll tell you what he got the belt
Says
for.
Benny the belt.
Only 4 players, only 4 Maple Leafs had more shots on net
No way.
than Simone Benoit
Buddy, I
tonight.
was all over the Benny
and they
train.
were the core 4. So no non-core 4
Good for
members
him.
had a better output in terms of shots in 15 minutes.
I love it.
4 shots for Simone Benoit.
Beautiful
tonight.
picture of him with the muzzy and the belt and his greasy Reebok shoulder pads. You got to see this. It's on the
He
Maple
is
Leafs Twitter.
a weapon of mass destruction. This guy, like he is an absolute unit. I love him. I watched the preseason. And I was like, this guy is completely unplayable.
Oh, yeah.
They can never have him play. And he went to the Marlies, and I was like, he's out of my mind. And then he's come up, and now he's like my favorite Leaf. I don't know how this has happened. I'm just such a Dumbo Joe Etobicoke, where I just love the unexpected story guy that like just overachieves a tiny bit. And that's where we're at here. So yeah, Simone Benoit, player of the game. Wish he had a scored for your bet there, Ailish,
Yeah.
but love that he gets the belt. That's
So,
incredible.
Sam, is he top 6 playoff for you right now? Like, even in understanding there's a trade to come, I'm warming up to the idea that McCabe Benoit is your third pair.
He doesn't want to play Gio anymore.
You're adding someone else to play with either Liljegren or Brody or Riley or whatever. If it's Tanev, you could do Riley, Tanev, Brody, Liljegren, and then you got a third pair, which I think sounds pretty good in Jake McCabe and Simone Benoit.
Yeah, I think that sounds really good. And I agree with you on Gio. I think maybe the injury could have been a blessing in disguise to get him off the team for a little while, because the guy plays every night. He won't take a night off, regardless of what anyone says to him. You know, he wants to keep those engines firing or whatever. But I think in an ideal world, you're maybe mixing in Gio and Simone Benoit as like your 6th, 7th guy heading into the playoffs. But like, if I had to pick between the two who I'm playing in a game, starting in the game 1 of the playoffs, I'm picking Benoit. Like, I love Gio and I love what he's given them. But at some point here, it's going to really fall off a cliff. I don't think he's been bad since he's come back. I just, he's, how old is he? He's an older man. He's been playing in the league for 100 years. I think it's going to catch up to him here at some point. But yeah, I think Benoit is a capable bottom pair guy that you may have to take out in a playoff game. Like, I don't think he's going to a lock to play every game, but he's definitely like a capable playoff roster type guy. And just him showing the grittiness and him showing, I don't know what's gone into the Leafs in the past couple games, like specifically against the Kings and again tonight. They were just like, all of a sudden they turned into the Florida Panthers. I don't know what's gotten into them. Every little thing. Liljegren, there was a tiny little poke on Martin Jones and from Mason McTavish, and Liljegren goes over and cross-checks him, and he's grabbing him. He rips his bucket off. I don't know what's gotten into them in the last couple games. Maybe they're just the California. You don't think that's what they're going to act like when they get into the nice weather. I'm not sure what it is, but I really hope this continues, because it's been awesome to watch them play this hard over the past couple days, where they just seem pissed off and continue to be pissed off. It's awesome.
Maybe something in the nice California sun, like got a little bit of vitamin D and they've re-energized. Whereas in Toronto, we don't see the sun ever and we're all just sad. So I don't know, maybe something over there. I got one more on my side here to ask you about, and then we'll let you. If this is your show, so I don't even know why we're leading.
My show.
Let's go.
Continue.
Okay, so I think we're going to find out quite soon about some of the names for the NHL All-Star Weekend, which is obviously here in Toronto. Obviously, Matthews will be going, but last year, Justin and I were like pounding the drums for Willie Nylander to make it his first All-Star game, and he didn't last year, but like it doesn't feel like he can be passed over this year. But can they have him, Matthews, and Marner? Is there room for 3 Leafs? Like, who is going to join Matthews at the All-Star game if you had to choose?
I think it's a good question. I think William Nylander has been a far better player than Mitch Marner this year. Like, I don't think there's really any comparison between the two. I think Mitch Marner's had a
But Marner
good year.
always goes.
A little bit of a down year, I would say. And to be honest, it's in Toronto. They're going to probably juice the vote. Like, I don't think, is anyone really taking account of fan votes? I think they could probably pretty easily just put Mitch Marner into the game. So this could be a moot conversation. But I think, like, there's no, when they're doing their 32 tomorrow, so everybody gets their player. There's no question the first guy that's getting named is clearly Austin Matthews. Like, it has to be. He's got 30 goals, and it's a couple days after New Year's Eve. He's been unbelievable. But to me, Willie is a very clear number 2 on this team in terms of importance to the team and importance to the offense. And he's just, we saw him in Sweden. We saw him with no tarp on that greasy TV show where he was getting asked about sending nudes and all this stuff. Like, he's a star. And I think with all this contract stuff that Kipper's been kicking up and about and saying that he's not reporting anything today, I have a feeling it'll be him. And then I think Marner will probably get into on the fan vote because they want as many Leafs in the game as they can possibly have. But yeah, I think Willie Nylander is a very deserving All-Star this year. It's just weird. The All-Star game, I hope this starts a trend of them actually playing hockey games here now for a little while, where it goes back to meaning a little bit more as opposed to just playing like a 3-on-3 pond hockey tournament where they're doing outside stuff, shooting at like surfboards and stuff in Florida. I hope it kind of matters again. But yeah,
they got $1 million on the line for that one competition now.
Yeah, which is awesome. That's great. And they've asked the players about the stuff. Like, that's the way to do it. So to me, it's William Nylander second. Mitch Marner probably gets in third. But yeah, clear Austin Matthews number 1. What an amazing start to the year he's had.
Be a tough upshot for Mitch Marner if the Miami Vice thing is what triggers.
That's what I'm saying.
It's what triggers a change to the All-Star format. And then when it comes to Toronto, he doesn't get to go.
That's what I'm saying. Like, he is the Toronto guy.
He'll be in his feelings a little bit.
I don't think it can
a little
happen.
bit, a lot.
Like, I don't think he cannot go is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah,
like, that's why I asked this question. Like,
the campaign might have to.
We think it's William Nylander and Mitch and Austin Matthews, but I don't think they can have no Mitch Marner is what I'm trying to say.
Can I tell you right now? I don't think William Nylander is going to be devastated if he doesn't get named. I'm sure he'll enjoy the couple days on the beach in Bora Bora. I don't think he's going to be too upset. You might get a little Instagram post, some cornrows, a little bit of chest hair, big chain. I don't think he'd be too upset. If you're gauging this by who would be more upset by it, Marner or Nylander, I don't think there's any comparison.
But if the fans vote him in,
I will say though, this might be the only time Nylander gets. Like, we talked about it on the show last year. We're like, there are no circumstances under the format that existed last year, at least, that he'll get to go as long as Matthews, Marner, and Nylander play together, because it's always Matthews and Marner, and maybe throw in a Riley, you can throw in a Freddie Anderson. He went. Jack Campbell. Did Jack Campbell go?
I don't know.
Anyway,
it's all a blur
it
to
just
me.
seems like Nylander always gets passed over, right? And if he doesn't go here,
then he's never going.
Then he might never go, because it's going to go to another city, and you only get 1 or 2 entries, and Austin Matthews will go every single time. So Nylander might have to take this opportunity. A last one for me. People were asking. We have to listen to the radio call, and we want to listen to the radio call, of course, while we're in studio here. So we missed the air guitar, the anthem that was happening. Not the air guitar, sorry, the guitar.
What's going on
that was
there?
happening? Like, was that as egregious as people on Twitter made it out to be?
It ruled. I'm going to tell you right now, it ruled. It rocked. It shredded. Whatever outdated term you want me to say. I'm a sucker for electric guitar. I'm your classic white guy. Like, a solo gets played.
Were you a garage band kid?
No.
You were.
I suck at music. Like, I would trade in the little ability I have in anything else to be able to play,
to rock out like that guy
one day. Like,
Jimmy.
He crushed it. He was out of control. It was a little bit hectic. He was going a little bit crazy, took a few liberties. But after all, that's rock and roll, baby. It's not like linear. It's not supposed to be, easy. It's not supposed to be like by the book. Couple notes that maybe were in there that he didn't need to add, but it got
the remix, just like Leafs talk.
Yeah, got a little crazy, but I loved it. I was a big fan of it. And it's funny, you watch all these road games and you see them go to all these places where like they have the anthem singer, and you forget how good the anthem singers are in Toronto. Like, what was the young woman's name that did it here forever?
Martina Ortiz-Louise, right?
She was by far the best in the league. And the new woman that they have doing it is unbelievable too. Mm-hmm. Like, we are truly spoiled
Natalie
by the
Morris.
anthem. Oh my gosh, she's so good. And I watched these. I'm like, who is this guy? I'm
like last night in LA, I'm like, you were in LA. Like, anybody there is
Where's Usher?
Is a musician or like a magician. So pick one.
So one of two acts.
I love the anthem. It still gets me fired up. I just think it's such a nice, to have everybody stand up and just, before the game. I love the anthem and I love the ones in Toronto. But yeah, I was a big fan of
all right. I'll have to go listen.
Whoever that greasy individual was shredding that guitar. Good job by you, buddy.
Beautiful. That's rock and roll, baby. Sam McKee,
roll, baby.
January 4th, 12:30 a.m. All right. Do you got anything to add, Sam?
I'm tired. Let's go to bed.
Okay. Leafs Sharks Saturday night. We've got the game. Are you guys back to normal on Leafs Talk then?
Reunited and it
thank God.
So good.
Back-to-back nights for me. There would be a case of beer on my stall.
Rude welcoming to 2024.
Yeah, when I get into work on Monday morning from JD, like a nice, I don't know,
I'm sure
something.
He'll
like 4 chirps in 3 seconds.
Yeah,
that's true. Wait, I have one word answer for you, and then we'll say goodbye.
Okay,
Hildeby or not on Saturday night? Yes or no?
Oh, it's Jones. No, Jones. I'm jonesing for Jones.
No, I was thinking of the Shakespeare you tried there.
To be or not to be?
I didn't even notice that. Nice try. Really landed the plane on that one.
Guys, it's so late. Shut up.
I'm just saying now that Jones. I'm jonesing for more Jones. Jonesy all the way. He's looking great. Looks like a normal NHL goalie. Just keep playing him.
You too?
There you go.
We got to see one Hildeby. I mean, it's going to have to happen.
We don't.
But if you don't, my thing today was if you don't play Hildeby tonight, it just means we're going to see Samsonov because you have no trust in doing it. This was the game to do it. So if not tonight, then when? I'm not holding my breath for it to happen because we know Samsonov can play.
2025. That's when.
There you go. So it's going to be Samsonov then. The Hildeby dream. I think we'll be wishing for that next time we see Ilya Samsonov in net for the Maple Leafs again.
All right, team.
Yeah, that'll be I'm really looking forward to that game. That'll be fun.
Saturday night, San Jose, and then Tuesday night, also San Jose. So get ready for back-to-back Sharks talk, baby. All right. Well, thanks for jumping on with us. We'll give you back the reins to your own show for Saturday night. All right, Sam?
Absolute pleasure, guys. Have a great night. Get home safely.
Love it. All right. Do all the things. Smash all the buttons. Rate all the shows. 5 stars. Follow at Sam A. McKee, at JD Bunkus, English for Justin Cuthbert. Yeah?
Didn't even get my handle in there.
Yeah, people know where to find it.
JD gets another shout out.
All right, guys. Have a great night. It's way past midnight. We're going to bed.
Move up to Heathwood. Hi, I'm Hugh Herwin. Experience true luxury at Williamsburg Green in Kitchener. Williamsburg Green is everything you want in a community. Enjoy fabulous trails, parks, playgrounds, sports areas, and more. Our beautiful all-brick homes include luxury features you've always dreamed of, even a fully finished lower level. It's time to move up to Heathwood. Learn more at heathwood.com.
And your truck with and your truck with and your truck with and your truck. Say two in a truck.ca. So when you gotta move, all moving day. Think two in a truck.ca. Cause all of us movers are not the same. So that's our company name, 2 men in a truck.ca. We're lots of men with lots of trucks. So give us a call today.
Unhibernate. Verb. To laugh in the face of snow because you drive a Subaru. As in, when I unhibernate, I have the roads all to myself because my Subaru has symmetrical full-time all-wheel drive and others don't. Or, the award-winning safety in my Subaru means I can unhibernate all winter while my neighbors stare longingly from their bedroom windows. Or my favorite usage. I am going to unhibernate this winter by visiting my local Subaru dealer today. Welcome to Uncommon Winter Confidence.
You've been listening to NHL Play-by-Play on SiriusXM. Head over to SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM 91, for the best hockey talk.
With his background, and you also are very familiar with how hard it is to break in at that position, right? How long it takes. Turns pro, has a little bit of a taste of it with Ottawa. The Kraken saw something that they wanted a young goalie to develop when they plucked him in the expansion draft. and let him do his thing. Let him develop. And that's what he did last year with Coachella Valley in the American Hockey League. This year was probably, if we're fair about this, the best goalie in training camp. He outplayed Philip Grubauer, but Grubauer is the incumbent. So they start the season knowing that there was a guy in the 2-hole that was coming, but also played the game differently. He's an excellent puck handler. So the team kind of takes on two different looks when either Grubauer's in there or Decord. The other side has a game plan differently against that. And with Grubauer, unfortunately for him, going down with an injury, it's all about opportunity. And Decord has grabbed this. He was spectacular yesterday. He's an endearing kid. I mean, he's got great personality. He's athletic. He works really hard. He comes from a hockey family. His dad's a well-known goaltending instructor. And so he's got the lineage behind him. He's got the makeup to do this. He's got the drive to do this. He's got a burn, I think, that's going to help him because he was never a guy that was looked at as the future in any organization, but he may be. So good for him because if you look at the numbers over the last 4 weeks, and it's a small sample, there's no question, but at that position, there's nobody playing better than he is.
SiriusXM has soccer covered end to end. SiriusXM FC. Hear live play-by-play and talk shows hosted by legends of the game. It's SiriusXM FC on Channel 157.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Thursday, December the 4th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens take on the Buffalo Sabres. Canadiens on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 935. Sabres on Internet 923. 7 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Bruins on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 922. Penguins on Internet 942. 7 p.m., New York Rangers face the Chicago Blackhawks. Rangers on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 939. Blackhawks on Internet 926. 7 p.m., Philadelphia Flyers take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Flyers on Sirius 210, XM 221, and Internet 941. Blue Jackets on Internet 928. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Calgary Flames. Predators on XM 207, Internet 936. Flames on Internet 924. 8 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Vancouver Canucks. Blues on XM 206, Internet 945. Canucks on Internet 948. 8 p.m., Minnesota Wild take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wild on XM 223, Internet 934. Lightning on Internet 946. 8 p.m., Dallas Stars face the Colorado Avalanche. Stars on Sirius 211, XM 222, and Internet 929. Avalanche on Internet 927. 9 p.m., Arizona Coyotes take on the New York Islanders. Coyotes on XM 205, Internet 921. Islanders on Internet 938. 10 p.m., Seattle Kraken face the Ottawa Senators. Kraken on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 944. Senators on Internet 940. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights take on the Florida Panthers. Golden Knights on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 949. Panthers on Internet 932. 10:30 p.m., San Jose Sharks face the Winnipeg Jets. Sharks on Sirius 210, XM 221, and Internet 943. Jets on Internet 951. 10:30 p.m., LA Kings face the Detroit Red Wings. Kings on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 933. Red Wings on Internet 930. For full coverage of the NHL regular season, playoffs, and hockey across the world, tune into SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
Follow every second of the action on NHL Network Radio. From behind the bench to every play on the ice. If it's hockey, it's on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. SiriusXM 91.
I'm Terry Mercury for SiriusXM Sports. With the NHL regular season approaching the halfway mark, conversations are starting to turn to the P word, meaning the playoffs. NHL.com senior writer Dan Rosen joins Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 91, with an early look at how things are shaping up in both conferences.
Yeah, Edmonton playing their way back in doesn't surprise me. They had to obviously go on a heater. They did. I thought they would. I thought McDavid would, and he has. So they're back in that mix, and they got a bunch of games in hand too. I mean, I think Edmonton's at 35 games, and Seattle is at 38, and they got the same number of points. St. Louis is right there. Calgary's right there. Minnesota's right there. But those teams have been so hit and miss, and I don't know about, the hot streak, if you will. Minnesota's gotten the bump from the coaching change, but so many injuries now with Gustafsson and Kaprizov and then Zuccarello, Brodin. So are they going to be able to hang in there? Calgary's been milling around, 500 points percentage. They're a 500 team, if you ask me. I look at that race in the West, and I say 10, maybe 11 teams for the 8 spots. Can Arizona hang in? They've been impressive. Nashville got hot. It's a better race than I thought it was going to be. And in the East, I think it's just, it's so wide open. Teams will drop off. Teams will jump ahead. But it's a really good race. And the Metro especially is just as wide open as it gets. There's 7 teams in the Metro that could legit be playoff teams. And you probably have 2 of the top 5 teams right now, if not 3 of the top 5 teams right now in that division, you weren't even looking at as playoff teams to start the season. And the 2 I'm looking at are Washington and Philadelphia, maybe even the New York Islanders, right? So it's kind of, it's topsy-turvy a little bit, but it's real close. The races are great, and we're at the halfway point almost for a lot of these teams, are nearing it within the next week or 2. And these races are fantastic. It's exactly what you want.
Are you of the belief that we're kind of waiting on Carolina to take off?
No doubt about it. I agree. I've been waiting on this team. They've been so hot and cold. You think you got it, and then they go out west earlier in December, and they get smoked. They lose to Winnipeg, they lose to Edmonton, Calgary, to Vancouver, and they lose a lot of one-goal games except the Edmonton game. But you go all the way out there and you can't win a game, at least one. So there is that. They come back. They've started to play better. Schedule got a little favorable for them, and they've been able to win some games. And then they go out and they do what they did to the Rangers. And now I think it's a one-off for the Rangers. I wouldn't be worried about it if I were the Rangers. But this, you look at the schedule for Carolina. Favorable. Washington, St. Louis, a break, Anaheim, Pittsburgh. These are winnable games for them, games that they can continue to climb in the standings. And you're right, 2 games in hand. I think it's still way too early to look at games in hand and whatnot. We're not even at the halfway point yet. But they were the team that I've been waiting on. The New Jersey Devils, I wrote about them in my mailbag this week. I knew it was going to be harder, similarly to what we talked about earlier with Matty Beniers. I had a conversation with Lindy Ruff prior to the season. And he said it's going to be harder for us. Teams are going to be coming after us now, and our guys have to be ready.
SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio is the place for expert advice, strategy, and information from the best fantasy sports analysis to win your league. Plus, hear pick-by-pick coverage of live drafts and interviews with top players, coaches, and team executives on SiriusXM 87.
I'm Frank Trachtenberg with your SiriusXM NHL schedule for Thursday, December the 4th. All times are Eastern, and please remember, all games, times, and channels are subject to change. Check SiriusXM.com for the latest updates. In the NHL, 7 p.m., Montreal Canadiens take on the Buffalo Sabres. Canadiens on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 935. Sabres on Internet 923. 7 p.m., Boston Bruins take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Bruins on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 922. Penguins on Internet 942. 7 p.m., New York Rangers face the Chicago Blackhawks. Rangers on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 939. Blackhawks on Internet 926. 7 p.m., Philadelphia Flyers take on the Columbus Blue Jackets. Flyers on Sirius 210, XM 221, and Internet 941. Blue Jackets on Internet 928. 8 p.m., Nashville Predators take on the Calgary Flames. Predators on XM 207, Internet 936. Flames on Internet 924. 8 p.m., St. Louis Blues take on the Vancouver Canucks. Blues on XM 206, Internet 945. Canucks on Internet 948. 8 p.m., Minnesota Wild take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Wild on XM 223, Internet 934. Lightning on Internet 946. 8 p.m., Dallas Stars face the Colorado Avalanche. Stars on Sirius 211, XM 222, and Internet 929. Avalanche on Internet 927. 9 p.m., Arizona Coyotes take on the New York Islanders. Coyotes on XM 205, Internet 921. Islanders on Internet 938. 10 p.m., Seattle Kraken face the Ottawa Senators. Kraken on Sirius 208, XM 219, and Internet 944. Senators on Internet 940. 10 p.m., Vegas Golden Knights take on the Florida Panthers. Golden Knights on Sirius 209, XM 220, and Internet 949. Panthers on Internet 932. 10:30 p.m., San Jose Sharks face the Winnipeg Jets. Sharks on Sirius 210, XM 221, and Internet 943. Jets on Internet 951. 10:30 p.m., LA Kings face the Detroit Red Wings. Kings on Sirius and XM channels 91, Internet 933. Red Wings on Internet 930. For full coverage of the NHL regular season, playoffs, and hockey across the world, tune into SiriusXM NHL Network Radio, Channel 91.
Get the latest news, opinion, and analysis from MMA to boxing and the professional wrestling world 24/7. SiriusXM Fight Nation, SiriusXM 156, and the SXM app.
I'm Terry Mercury for SiriusXM Sports. Rogers Media hockey commentator Doug MacLean is a former NHL head coach and general manager, and he's on NHL Network Radio, SiriusXM Channel 91, telling hosts Gord Stellick and Scott Laughlin the rather colorful tale of how he became the first general manager and head coach of the Columbus Blue Jackets.
You know what? It was pretty bizarre. What happened was when I got fired in Florida, Jeff Rimmer phoned me. Of course, Jeff Rimmer thinks he got every job I've ever gotten for me. Without a doubt. He thinks, I've gotten you every... So anyway, he knew a guy in Baltimore, a guy that worked for Worthington Industries when I was with the Skip Baltimore in Washington. And this guy's name was John McCracken, and he was a vice president of Worthington Industries. And Jeff phoned and said, hey, So John McCracken had phoned me when I was with the Red Wings, and he said, hey, I'm in town, I've got some clients, is there any way I could bring them down to below by the Red Wing dressing room to meet them? So I brought him down, didn't really know him and didn't know anything about him, but he came down. So he phones me and he said, look, I don't know if you remember, but you entertained us in Detroit at a game when I had some steel people there. And he said, my owner or my boss just bought an NHL team and I'm going to recommend you for the job. So I phone the office and leave my name, and Mr. McConnell answered the phone, and it's Doug MacLean. He said, I know you. I was in Florida there 2 weeks ago when you got fired. So I know you. So I ended up going to the Gulfstream Country Club for lunch with him, and luckily I walk in. I don't have a damn sport coat on. I just have a golf shirt because I thought it was casual, but the Gulfstream Country Club's not casual. So they take me downstairs, and they got like 10 sport coats there, and the valet says, oh, coach, you don't have a sport coat. Takes me down, and there's lime green, orange, pink, you know what 80-year-olds wear in South Florida? Find this sport coat to get on, of navy blue. It's the only one I can find, but 2 sizes too small. And a bunch of people at the lunch kept asking me for my autograph. And I'm thinking, thank God, because he was excited about that. And honest to God, I had a lunch with him, and I had met him one other time, and I had the job. He gave me the job, and he said, I'm taking you up to Columbus on my private jet and introduce you to my guys up there. And don't say you've got the job already, because they think they're interviewing you too. So anyway, I get the job. Then I'm GM, and I go in, and I said, Mr. McConnell, this was a month later, I said, we need a president. And he said, oh, you can be the president too. All of a sudden, I'm president GM, and he thought it was like I was running a Pee Wee travel team or something. And so, anyway, I become president. I said, okay, I got to figure this out. So I take the Florida Panthers media guide, and I go through the media. Okay, I need a vice president of corporate